Hello, everybody, and welcome to Embers of the Wilds. Today, we are doing a flashback episode to see what life was like here in Trog Canyon in the early days, just after the war. We're going to start this through the lens of one of our NPCs, Lydia, and sort of start off by exploring when Lydia first met Pearl. Found Pearl, acquired Pearl, added Pearl to the inventory, something
One
like
of
that.
those things.
Yes.
Depending on who you
Looted.
ask, I suppose.
Looted pearl from the canyon, dropped by something.
Yes.
But before we start, how is life going?
Life is good. It's very warm though, which has been like, I don't know, that's been why we haven't been able to play for a while, at least on our end. Because it's just unbearably warm right now. And for some reason, Sweden has just been like, oh, you know what? We don't need to install like ACs in buildings because it never gets hot here. And then turns out it gets hot here. So yeah, like everybody in Sweden is just woefully underprepared for the hot weather, which kind of sucks. Yeah, so we've had to choose between like, either we have like our AC on and it's very loud in the background and it's bearable, or we have it off and our window's slightly open and it's too hot and yeah, it's just garbage. But yeah, other than that, it's good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we talk about Lydia before we really start here? She's going to be a central figure in our session today, and we might need some stats for her.
Probably.
Up till now, we've been able to get by without any stats and no commitments on that front. But I think it's time to address that problem. Now, Lydia is a fairly average woman statistically. She was born to a noble family, so she gets her position and rank from birth, so she doesn't necessarily need amazing stats for anything. And at the same time, she doesn't need terrible stats for anything. So I think we will use the classic 3d6 rolling method for Lydia's stats. But we already know that she's not down the line, no.
Yeah.
We already know that she's not exceptional in any way, and she's not, what's the opposite of exceptional? Exceptionally bad in any way?
Yeah.
So if there are stats that are like, we'll re-roll anything that's like a 6 or less or 15 or higher to keep the stats in that 7 to 14 range that would describe most people. So why don't you roll me 3d6 6 times, and then we'll juggle them around.
All right.
I think I have a Lydia character sheet, which I will share with you as well.
Okay, there we go. Numbers.
15, 10, 14, 12, 12, 9.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's just re-roll that 15. Keep the stats a little bit in that main band.
Rude.
One more time, please. That's no good. There we go. Much better. So
Okay.
she's got 14, 14, 12, 12, 10, 9.
All right. So how do I distribute these? I imagine she should be pretty high in charisma.
Okay.
I feel like noble families should have a lot of like social connections, or maybe they don't actually. I don't know what the standard is. Like if are nobles like kind of socially isolated because of their status, or is it kind of like the other way around? Or...
No, for her family, she would have been in Northridge, knowing people, going to parties, that sort of thing. She might not have taken well to it. Maybe she didn't like that lifestyle, or maybe that is exactly what she did and she thrived on it. So you can decide if that's high charisma or low charisma.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess it could go sort of either way. Okay. I'm just gonna throw down some temp assignments.
Definitely in a position in her life where if she wanted to lean into it, she could have had that skill be well practiced and could have excelled at it, or could have abandoned it and left all those sort of leadership roles to servants and other family members.
Yeah, I sort of imagine that Lydia would not be. I've sort of imagined that she would not be super interested in the like noble lifestyle, like the, city life of luxury. I think she would be like appreciate those comforts, but she would be more of a practical person and likes doing things on her own. Kind of like already primed to move out of the city. I don't know exactly when she moved out, but like if it was like right before the war, or I don't know, like when all of that happened.
I had the impression she left right before or right during, maybe like in the early years of the war, or recently before it started.
I think she would have jumped onto an excuse to leave, sort of. Because I can imagine there's like social pressure to stay. And I also think that she, like, her relationship with her parents, I imagine, would be good, but her parents would sort of like try to pressure her to like go into the more like noble professions or whatever, even though she doesn't really want to do it. But they would still love and support her, just like be always a little bit nagging all the time, being like, hey, maybe it's time to pick up this thing, or be a little bit more social, or I don't know, like that type of parents. Let's see, what are the other ones? Con, and I'm missing a stat. What am I missing?
Strength, Dex, Con, Int, Wiz, Charisma.
Wisdom. Okay, Wisdom was the one.
I'm not actually seeing an age for Lydia in any of my notes anywhere.
I think I have it in my notes.
I think you had said something in her mid-40s, and if that makes Pearl, and if Pearl was about 23 during our gameplay time, so if this is 20 years ago, then Lydia would be in her early to mid-20s.
Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, that's around Actually, I'm gonna reverse this. There we go.
So high wisdom, high intelligence, decent strength and dex, very average con, average charisma. Okay, nice.
Okay.
So, Lydia, we're going to start with the day you find Pearl. You've been in town for a couple years now. The war has sort of been over, and we say over only because, not that there was any official end to it, but Northridge was destroyed and everything went quiet. And that was a few years ago. And you haven't really seen or heard from anyone outside town yet. The armies of the enemy have marched through. They had set up camps. They had destroyed everything in their path with no mercy, no thought for survivors. Just, we want everything here gone so that we'll never have a problem with it again. And all the people of Trog Canyon have since hunkered down. These are the darkest of the years, right after the war has ended, when everything is suspect and everyone is constantly worried that the armies will return. It's been about 3 years since anyone's seen any major activity, and you are walking up the canyon one day. Why are you leaving the canyon on this day of all ordinary days?
I imagine that Lydia would be out hunting, most likely. Possibly doing other types of like scouting, looking for any like armies somewhere. And possibly if the town is very much like trying to isolate and hide, especially so early after Northridge was sacked, I imagine like trying to hide evidence of civilization. Like if someone has set up camp somewhere, maybe like try to make sure that looks less inhabited and make it just look like any other wilderness. So I imagine that Lydia would be out doing any of those types of things.
So that's perfect. Lydia is hunting now, but she wasn't born as a hunter. Is this a skill that she's learned living in the canyon, or did she come out to live in the canyon because she was already practicing this skill?
I think she would have, like, archery, I imagine, could be something that like even nobles can practice for fun, right?
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah. So I think like I think for Lydia, maybe if there are like, the nobles are throwing a party somewhere and they just have archery ranges for fun, like Lydia kind of leans into that more than everyone else, and kind of like takes that opportunity to like have an excuse to practice archery, even though her parents might not be too into it. So I think she would be like excited to, I don't know, put her skills to actual use and like live a more practical life where she can feel like she contributes more directly to people. So I think it was relatively easy for her to feel like she could be part of society and actually contribute.
Okay. So you've been an archer for a long time. You've been hunting for sport usually, or archering for sport, bowing for sport. But now that all society has fallen to pieces, you are having to put your fun skills to practical uses. This
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So with a bow slung over one shoulder, a quiver at your hip, you exit out the north edge of town, getting not too terribly far before you come across this mewing sound.
I will immediately pull out the bow and just because I'm like, this has to be like a mountain lion or something hiding around the corner.
Well, you can pull out your bow and peer around looking for the sound when you can find I don't want to say a small cat because it's about, yay big. I don't know what that is in kilos, but a 25-pound cat, that would be like a 12-kilo cat or so. Stark white from head to tail, stuck in a cactus or lodged between a cactus and a rock.
Oh geez, does it look dangerous? Like, or is it like just screaming for help? Or
It looks like a wild animal that is stuck in a difficult spot and is probably in pain and suffering and therefore very defensive, but at the same time absolutely needing your help because it's stuck between a rock and a cactus. But like it's an angry cat, so
I don't have any catnip on me, do I?
No. Why would you carry catnip?
I don't know. I guess I will like walk a little closer. Does it look like a mountain lion or like, I don't know, would I recognize it as?
You would recognize this as a bizarre creature. It is snow white in head to tail. The cats around here are usually a little bit more tawny or khaki colored. So it doesn't fit with the coloring of any of the creatures here. Also, while it looks like a rather large cat, there are some distinguishing things about it that make you kind of cock your head. Like the paws are just a little bit off. They're like a little bit too wide and not long enough. There's something just slightly off about this bizarre feline on the ground.
I will take off my backpack and pull out I presume I have like knives and whatnot I can use to like cut vegetation and like separate stuff. I guess I will slowly walk up to the cactus and see if I can like dislodge it. I will reach out with my hand very slowly and see if it's aggressive. Okay.
Angry. You're suffering.
Then I will
put it out of its misery.
I'll try a different tactic. I'm gonna open up one of my rations. I imagine at least some of them has fish in it, because I know that cats like fish. So maybe there's like a piece of salmon, something like that I think cat creatures would like. And I will very, very slowly hold it in front of the cat and see if it calms down or reacts in any positive way.
At first, it's just a little defensive about a person invading its space with a hand, even if there's food in it. But once the food is left and you've backed away a little bit, it takes a sniff at it and then tries to devour the fish as much as possible. You'll notice as it tries to, get a little bit closer to eat the next section after it's like chowed down on the bit closest to it, its leg moves slightly against the cactus spines. And the creature yelps and yowls and tries to bat at the cactus a little bit. And you can see the blood of the little kitty.
Okay, I will immediately like. I don't know if I would have gloves. Do you wear gloves when you do archery? Like,
you might have a glove, maybe.
Or at least
possible.
try to like prop the cactus away without hurting myself. I don't know if that's possible,
Yeah.
but I mean, I do have a knife, like a hunting knife, to see if I can dislodge the leg.
Okay, well, give me a dexterity check in this situation. That is a critical success. It is an easy thing for you to dislodge the cat from the cactus. You just have to, push the cactus away and then, cut away at the little spines with your knife enough that the cat is now freed. And then with one hand on the back of the cat's neck, you can pull off the little bit of cactus that's still attached. And very quickly, the cat will go from hissing and angry to mewing and purring and rubbing up against you because you
Aw.
have removed the source of pain. And then it scurries over to the fish and begins to gobble it down.
I'm a little bit confused about this cat. And is there any other hunter around if I look around? Because I imagine some other people might be out hunting.
They might be, but they are further up the canyon. They must have left before you or haven't left yet. So this is like on the way to your hunting spot. And there is no one else here presently. But as you look around, you do catch sign of a depression in the sand a little bit away, maybe 10 feet away from you. A weird sort of unnatural dip in the earth.
What is it? If I go up there, does it feel different? Is it like warm or cold, or like do I notice anything strange about it? Apart from the shape, I guess.
Why don't you give me a perception check to investigate the area around you? See what there might be going on.
Let's see. No.
There's a visual depression in the ground. You wave your hand through it. It's not warm. It's not cold. And then that cat comes up behind you and starts like rubbing in between your legs and trying to trip you and knock you down. And then it curls up in the little bit of a depression while you stand over it.
I guess I'll casually pet it while trying to figure out what's going on in this area. Do I see anything like... Can I pet it, or is it aggressive, or does it just like me for having fish?
It seems to accept your affection, and seems... I don't know if a cat can seem grateful. I've certainly never seen it in my cat, but if cats can seem grateful, this one does.
I hope Pan didn't hear that.
Piece of shit cat running around here somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I'll just look for any other weird signs for this, because I mean, if this doesn't look like any other mountain lion or whatever, I guess I'm just kind of confused and not sure what to do with this cat, apart from just letting it hang out with me. I think I would try to make my way back to town, but I'm also kind of scared if the townspeople are gonna attack it or something.
Well, it is possible.
Oh, is its legs injured? Like, I guess I should just, like...
It's been
try to...
stabbed by cactus, but the stabs are not damaging to its mobility. It was just a painful insertion in its side.
Okay. I'm gonna slowly walk away from it toward the canyon and see if it follows me.
At first, it doesn't. It just rolls over in the dirt, in the little depression, getting a bit of a dust bath. You can make about 20 feet away, 10 meters away. It seems like it's not following you.
Okay. Does it look scared at this point? Or what is the
It
vibe?
looks curious. It was injured a moment ago. You had given it some food and cut away the cactus, and very quickly it went from hissing and defensive to sort of calm and collected in this little dip. Like its mood changed very rapidly. And now it's just chilling in the little dip.
How far away is this from town?
Not very far at all. You could be back in town in a matter of minutes.
Okay. I think I would initially just go back to town and see if I can, like, is there any town guard or someone I can talk to who's just by the edge of town, or?
Yeah, you can see one of the townsfolk hanging out on one of the walkways, watering their plants. It is one of the elderly gentlemen of town, a man named Mr. Wiggins, and he's got a little flower pot that he is watering out of a not burnish, what do you call it? An oxidized copper watering can. It's all bluish and greenish looking. It's very nice. And his tulips are coming in splendidly as you walk past.
Wiggins, how are you doing?
Oh, Lady Lydia. Hello.
How are your tulips going?
Fine. The first good flowers I've had in as long as I can remember.
So I have a question. This might be a weird question, but have you seen any mountain lions that are white? Completely white fur.
No. Well, I mean, aside from that small creature behind you, no.
I'll just turn around all of a sudden and kind of surprised that the cat has been following me because I didn't think it would.
But there it is. It is perched on a rock, maybe 30 feet away, clearly in the line of sight of Mr. Wiggins. It licks at its paws and rubs at its head, and there's something off about it again. You can't quite place it because it's, a smallish creature moving sort of quickly, doing its own thing, but there's something unusual about this cat's front paws at the least.
I don't know what's up with this cat, but it's been following me as I've been out hunting, and I'm not sure what to do with it. I would feel bad killing it. Have you considered getting a cat?
Actually, I'm quite allergic.
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. Oh, geez. I guess I'll go back to the cat and see if does it react to me going back to it, or is it kind of just sitting there?
Yeah, it cocks its head and looks up at you with these big blue eyes.
Is there any way I can get get back into town without literally everybody seeing me do that? I guess kind of not, right?
No, because you walk through the middle of town to get to any of the entryways, so.
Okay. I'll go back to the cat, pull out another piece of fish from the rations, and I'll kind of just hold it while walking through town, sort of slowly making my way to my place, I suppose, and kind of leading it there and trying to be not super visible, kind of sticking to the wall along the bottom of the canyon or something, because I don't want to make a scene or something. And I presume there are cats in town, so it's not super weird to have a cat in town, right? House cats.
There are definitely a few house cats. There's not a lot, but there are a few out here in this canyon. It's a difficult place for cats to survive because they're, of course, indoor-outdoor, obviously, since indoor would just be dark all the time. And there are mountain lions and hawks and eagles and other vicious creatures, so oftentimes house cats go out for a stroll and never return. Keeps their population in check. But this cat draws quite a bit of attention because it's very large. It's 20 pounds. What is that, 10 kilos, maybe 9 kilos, something like that. It's a biggin. And the various people in town who are presently outside will peer over the edge to watch this strange, very large cat being led by some fish as the two of you walk through the middle of town. I'm
gonna try to make sure that the cat is close to me so that it doesn't look like it's chasing me or anything like that, to make it obvious that it's peaceful. At least it's not attacking me, so there's no danger around. And I think I would just try to lead it up to my apartment, although I guess that would mean going through a few walkways.
It definitely would. People are definitely going to see you bring the cat into town. There's no way around it. But you bring it in. And as you walk up one of these walkways, the cat will leap up onto the banister, which
what's the
is where
banister?
you can. It's the railing on the side of a staircase. It will leap up there, and this is where you'll really notice what's going on. This cat has opposable thumbs because the banister is slightly rounded, and yet the cat leaps up onto it and clutches either side with a thumb wrapping around, which I don't think I have to tell you is
That's kinda
unusual
weird.
for a cat.
Actually, don't like house cats only have that on their like hind legs, like a one little newt, like the little dew claw or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yeah. Dewclaw is the right word. At least that's the word my wife uses for it. But that's usually not opposable. You
Oh
know,
no,
not
it's just yeah.
great for gripping. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll just try to make my way up there as quickly as possible because I don't want to cause a commotion. I just want to like bring the cat to my apartment and try to think of what to do with this strangely affectionate mountain lion, I guess.
Sure. It'll paw along the fence behind you. As you get to your apartment, it quickly hops down and goes across the planks and walks into your front door with you, and then sits and stares up at you with a meow.
Okay, I will just add some more, just plop down some fish on a table or something, or nearby so that it like has something to eat. I'll also fill up a bowl with water and put it on the ground so that it can drink. And then if it's looking settled enough and happy enough, I'm gonna leave and close the door and lock it.
Okay. You shut and lock the door with the cat inside?
Yes.
And you inside, or are you on the outside?
I'm on the outside. As long as it's looking happy. I don't want it to like feel distressed because I'm leaving or something. Maybe I'll stay for a while if it...
It is presently preoccupied with food. No considerations for anything outside of the food bubble.
Okay, that might be bad. Okay, but it's occupied with food for a while, so I'm just gonna close the door and I'm gonna go to my neighbors and knock on the door.
Your neighbor answers the door. It is, I'm so bad at coming up with names. It is Britt, is your neighbor.
Oh, what was the name?
Britt, a middle-aged woman, maybe 42 or something.
Britt?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, did she open or?
Yes, she opens the door, sees you there, gives you a bit of a curtsy and dips her head because you're still a noble, and in these intervening years after the war, people are still acknowledging her as a social superior, even if it's not quite the situation anymore. But she gives you the head nod and the curtsy and says, "Lady Lydia, what brings you to our humble abode?"
Oh, Britt, no need for the formalities. Don't worry about that. I do have some. I have a strange situation. I do know
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
like cats, right?
Of course, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think I found a cat that looks kind of like a cat I've never seen before. And I was wondering if you could maybe take a look at it and help me figure out what's going on.
Inquisitively, she cocks her head to the side and steps out of the house and will walk along with you back to your place, which is not too far. We can see that Lydia's house is right here. And so this
I'm not
must
on
be
the
Brett's
map right
home.
now.
Oh my God, I am so sorry.
It's fine.
Here we go.
Let's see. It is loading. There we go. Okay.
So this is Lydia's house, clearly, and that would make this over here Britt's house. This is the records room, which at this point in time is fully operational and actively being used. But you go see Britt. She comes back with you to take a look at this cat. You get to the door. You've locked it, so the
I'm
quick
gonna
turn of the key.
slowly open it, just so like a cat doesn't bolt out immediately, and try to do it carefully.
Yeah. The two of you peer inside to see a rather large bubble floating around in the middle of the room with the little cat staring up at it and its tail swishing back and forth as the cat's jaws open and like...
Wait, is there is it in a bubble or?
No, the cat's just on the ground, but there's a bubble about yay big, the size of my head almost, floating around in the middle of the room.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. Hold on a minute, and I'll just close the door with neighbor outside and try to hide the
Cocks her head
strange
to the
things
side.
happening.
What was that?
Nothing. Hold on, and I will. I guess I'll just look at the bubble. Does it look like a regular bubble floating around that might pop if it hits something?
I don't know what a regular bubble floating around would look like.
I don't think Lydia would know that either, actually.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Okay, can I just pop it with a knife? Just kind of like...
Sure.
Does...
You can open the door and step on in and give it a little boop, and the bubble just pops and disappears entirely.
Do I see anything other strange happening in the room, apart from the cat?
Yes. You'll notice that the cat gives a bit of a sneeze, and a big snot bubble pops off of its face, and then begins to lift and float back towards the middle of the room.
This is even harder to try to explain and figure out.
Is everything okay? Comes Britt's voice.
Everything is fine. Give me a moment. I'll just see if I can calm it down. I don't know what's going on. If I can just give it some pets, see if it returns to some sort of normal
ignores
state.
your affection. It has eyes only for the floating bubble of snot.
Okay. I will slowly. I will leave it to do whatever is happening right now, and I will go back to the door, and open it. And yeah, I think the cat's not feeling too well, actually.
Let me take a look at it.
Okay.
I'm pretty good with animals.
Can you be sure to not to talk to anyone else about this for now?
It's just a cat, ma'am. It's okay. You don't have to be concerned.
So I think this might not be a normal cat, and I'm not sure what kind of cat this is.
Well, a cat's a cat. They're not like dogs,
It might be silly, and I might be just overly careful, but, Barnaby doesn't, let anyone in and let them have any kind of pet or whatever, so I just want to make sure that, we just keep this between us. Would that be okay?
She looks a little bit concerned at you. Would Lydia make me a persuasion check?
Oh, no.
Ma'am, it's just a cat. How dangerous can it be?
Okay, so if you talk to anyone about this, you're gonna say that it was just a cat, right?
Is it not?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Why don't we just have a look and we can fret about the details after we see what we have on hand,
Okay.
Poor creature's probably terrified.
Probably, yeah. Okay, just be careful and be kind to it. You would be anyway. I don't know why I'm saying this. And I'll slowly open the door.
Are you feeling okay, ma'am?
Yes, I am fine.
You sure?
And I'll slowly open the door and
Yep.
let her in.
The cat is nowhere to be seen.
Oh,
She looks about.
I swear the
Where's
cat was
little
here
one?
just now. And I'll just go to the kitchen,
Kitty,
look
kitty,
around,
kitty, kitty,
and see if there's a cat
Yeah,
there.
she will call out to the cat, and the two of you can start looking around to see where you can find it. You will see that it is presently on your bed, and as you get called into the room by Britt, you can see that the cat's entire bowl of water is, not the bowl itself, just the water from the bowl is hovering right over your bed in like a spreading out circle.
Oh, jeez.
Ma'am?
Yes?
Ma'am?
Mm-hmm.
I think you're right. There's something off about this cat. Come take a look.
Okay. I'll just run to the bedroom and see what's going on.
And there's this big plane of water slowly, hovering around the area of your bed.
I'll just try to collect it with my hands and like kind of move it away from the bed and like kind
The
of.
moment you touch it, it collapses and just splashes down, soaking your duvet. The cat is caught in the splash damage and gives a yelp and a cry and bolts out the bedroom door. Now, here's the question. Did you guys remember to shut the front door when you came in?
You know, probably not. I mean,
Maybe,
okay,
maybe
well,
not.
shut.
Why don't we get
yes.
a wisdom check?
Okay, shut, but not lock. That's what I would say. But we can wisdom check it if you want.
Yeah, just a DC 10 wisdom check. Did you remember to shut the door? You know, cat's a little bit unfamiliar in your house.
Yeah.
Someone forgot to shut the door.
I feel like Brit would have remembered as someone who owns a cat. They do in the future, but I'm not sure if they do now.
Possibly, but you know, she's expecting the cat. You guys open the door. There's no cat here. She's a little confused. People walk in, get distracted. Door maybe like it got shut, but it didn't latch. It like almost latched and then just like didn't have quite enough force. So as the cat bolts out the room, now covered in water, you can hear it scratching at the door until it pries the door open just enough to bolt out and onto the steps.
Oh my goodness. Lydia will run up to the table where she had her backpack and just quickly try to pull out some more fish, like kind of rummaging through all the rations and trying to find the one with the fish, and make her way out and see if she can see where the cat went.
Britt is already outside, chasing the cat into the records room as it bolts down the catwalk, hooks a left into that room, and disappears into the mine.
Jeez. Okay. Is there anyone else in the records room?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'll just walk into or make my way into the records room, I guess, and I'll ask anyone in there if like have you seen a cat, perhaps?
Yeah, it just ran right past us, says the foreman who's standing at the very front of it all. Never seen a cat in here before. That was a pretty big one too.
Yeah, I kind of accidentally let it go. I'm really sorry, and I apologize for the inconvenience.
It's fine. It's just a cat. It hasn't hurt anything.
I was just worried it would like rummage around and all the stuff in here. You know, wouldn't want anything to get damaged. But I'll just go get the cat immediately.
You and Britt can go on into the depths of the mine here. It is a cool, dark place inside the mine. The records room is just around the corner. Or at least it will be sometime in the future. At this point, it is still an active iron and coal mine. And so there's a bit of dust in the air. Your clothes are going to get sort of chalky or coal dusted. And you can hear the, hey, look, it's a kitty, coming from round the corner.
You found a kitty? Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll walk around in the tunnels, make my way to whoever found the cat.
Yeah. You see there's this big burly man of a coal miner reaching out with his dusty, dirty, blackened hands to grab the almost snow white cat. And as he picks it up, the cat gives like a bit of a hiss, and a spark is produced off of its whiskers.
Oh, be careful with that cat. Be very, very careful.
Covered in coal dust. Gets a bit of a flash powder effect as the dust around him sparks and burns. Shouts go out through the mines. Fire in here is quite dangerous, but it doesn't spread more than just over his clothes, giving a quick rippling of flame as the coal dust burns off of him. He drops the cat, who now bolts and tries to go between your legs. Lydia, give me a... I guess this is going to be an unarmed attack roll to grab the running cat. So let's give you...
what would that be?
There should be... Oh, no, that doesn't work the way that I want it to, I don't think. No. It's going to be a 1d20 plus 3 is what it's going to be. You can grab the cat as it tries to bolt between your legs. The man in the mine, who just got his eyebrows burned off, stares agape. The other miners begin to crowd around, and from behind you, the foreman closes in with a, "What the hell was that?"
I'm gonna crouch down on the ground and like kind of hold the cat within my arms and make sure it doesn't like run away and cause any more trouble. I am terribly sorry for all this commotion that it caused. I can only apologize. This was my bad. I shouldn't have let the cat run in here.
I think this is where we should take our first break as the people consider this strange beast who set sparks off in a coal mine. An extremely dangerous thing. Could
Was
get
it
everyone
clear
killed.
that it was the cat's fault? Like,
Fault is a
maybe
strong
it
word
was,
here, but there
you
was
know,
clearly sparks coming off of its whiskers.
I don't know. There might be explosives and other like incendiary things in here. So
It's
I don't know if it's the
possible.
cat, but all right.
Well.
Let's go on break. I'll be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Well, the miners are looking at you and this dangerous creature that you've brought in. There's some concern. Did that thing just... Did it just make sparks? I think it just made sparks.
Oh, that sounds weird. Cats usually don't make sparks. Do you have any like metal equipment or something that could cause some sparks or?
Ma'am, this is an iron mine and a coal mine. We got a lot of metal equipment here, but you don't get sparks unless you strike an iron ore itself. You certainly don't get it when you're petting a cat. No amount of metal equipment's gonna make that happen.
I'm terribly sorry. I wasn't aware this cat could create sparks. As far as I know, cats don't. And I look toward Brit for confirmation on this.
She bobs her head. The foreman approaches you and says, well, perhaps you should be getting that creature out of here before it causes any other problems.
Yeah, I'll do that as soon as possible. I'm really sorry, but I'll see if I can like. I'll just hold the fish in front of the cat and see if I can like try to get it to just focus on that instead of causing havoc.
It will paw at the fish, and you can carry the cat out of the mine shaft. There's a small entourage that follows you out to see what the cat does. What do you do when you exit the mine with it? And there's a whole slew of people watching.
At this point, I mean, I would have a lot of questions about what the heck this cat is, and I presume a lot of other people do too. Would Annabelle be a cleric at this point in time?
No, she is quite young at this point in time. The former head cleric is in charge now. Their name... Let's see. It was 8 years before the war that she was anointed by the divine. Let's see. Training. 10 years. So she is somewhere between being trained and being a full-fledged cleric. The former cleric is in charge now. That is an older gentleman whose name has yet to be determined. So we are going to call him... What's this? Crofter. Crofter.
Okay.
Crofter.
Neat. So I imagine, like, it's obviously magical. Like, something is very wrong with this cat, right?
Yeah, it's got opposable thumbs. There was clearly floating water near the cat, and then there were sparks near the cat.
And so
This is weird.
how weird is, I guess, how weird is this to Lydia? Like, how common is, like, because I presume casters are about and wizards exist, and Lydia might have seen magic tricks or whatever. Especially as a noble, I presume that's, like, fun party tricks if you know
Totally.
wizards or whatever.
But that's like you might go and see some fireworks or like a laser show or something. But if you come home and your cat is like setting off fireworks in your house while doing a laser show of its own, no matter how ordinary those activities are, they're not associated with this sort of creature.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So it's obviously weird, but I'm wondering, like, yeah, guess it would. It's not like I've never seen magic before, so I would be able to tell that it's magic, right?
You would definitely be
Yeah.
able to tell that this is some sort of magical effect, but at this point, it's questionable whether it is happening near the cat or if the cat is the one doing it, right? Maybe this cat is like a strange enchanted creature that there are things happening to it, or maybe this cat is controlling these effects, or maybe this cat is disrupting the natural cycle near it and it is causing these things unintentionally.
Yeah,
Could
I
be
think
any
I would
number.
want to talk to Crofter in that case, because like that has got to be the person that knows the most about magic in town, I presume.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think I would. I think I would carry the cat back to my place, and maybe ask Britt to look after the cat while I go see the cleric.
Yes. Britt will definitely watch the cat with a curtsy and a nod. It lets you leave the building, and as you shut the door behind you, you can hear her say, "Come on, little kitty. It's okay. You don't have to be afraid." And you can run off and fetch the cleric. He's an older, not older gentleman. At this point in time, he's probably in his 50s or so. And he will be hanging out at the temple. There's some folks there making some prayers. He's, sitting patiently behind them, ready to clean up after they exit. As you come on in, and you can catch his eye, and he'll quietly pad over to where you are and speak in a low tone so as not to disrupt those currently in their prayers. Lady Lydia?
Crofter, I have bumped into something very, very strange in the forest. And I was wondering if you would have time to take a look. Maybe you're busy right now, or...
What is it?
It is something of magical nature, and I don't know quite what to make of it, and I have concerns that it might be dangerous for the town, or for...
His face darkens. A magical thing?
Yes.
Near the town? Oh, we should see this at once.
Yeah,
Could be
do you have time
dangerous.
now, or are you
Of course.
busy?
He checks the people one more time. They're still deep in their prayers, and he is willing to walk away. You can leave a church unattended. No one's going to wreck it or defile it. You can trust the people of the town to behave appropriately. So,
On the way back, I'm going to explain that it's it's actually a creature, and it seems to be magical, and it very much looks like a mountain lion, except
is it
it's...
a tool of the enemy?
I
Have they
don't
summoned
know.
magical monsters into our forests to hunt us down?
I hope not, because in that case, I just brought one into town. But it seems friendly. It's not attacking me. It's just causing a little bit of a ruckus. But other than that, it just seems like it's magical. And I figure you know something about magic, so maybe you can take a look and see if you can figure out what this creature is.
I see. He clasps his hands behind his back, letting his long white robes flow along the floor as he grasps the rod of comfort in one hand and walks with you back to your house. You can make your way over the bridges, coming into your home, a former mine itself. And there is Britt on the floor playing with the cat, who is rolled over on its back, showing its belly. And you can see Britt has one of the paws in one hand that she's examining while she's like scratching the cat under the chin to keep it distracted. And as you come in, she exclaims to you, "Look, Lady Lydia, it has thumbs." And then she sees Crofter behind you, and gets up and curtsies and bows to the cleric as well.
Yeah, see, I don't know what to make of this. Would you perhaps have some answers?
He approaches it and gives a squat near the kitty, who looks at him, head cocked to the side, and lets out a meow, slightly different tone than before.
Not impressed by the cleric. Or...
Meow. The cleric looks at the cat, looks at its eyes, and leans in close and beckons you over. Look at this. Look at these eyes. This doesn't look like a normal cat's eye.
I'll walk up and see what's up.
Yeah. She has definitely non-human eyes, but they're not quite as, I don't know what the right word is for how to describe like an iris or a pupil, but not quite as fancy and decorative as a cat. You know, a cat has more of like a nice long vertical slit. This is ever so slightly more rounded than you would normally see in the standard cat's eye. You know, not quite like full saucer, I'm super alert and about to attack something, but definitely has like a roundness to it that you would not see.
Yeah, this doesn't look like a mountain lion.
No, definitely not. This is some strange thing. It looks too small and innocent to be a weapon or a monster here to kill us.
But it seems to be capable of magic, or at the very least, magical things happen around it. It was creating bubbles just now. It has created floating water above my bed, and I will glance over to the wet bedroom.
You know, this creature is sort of adorable. It could be that they've created some sort of abomination through which they can spy, and they made it just look cute and fluffy, so we might pick it up and take it home. And if they're spying through these cats' eyes, then maybe the enemy is using this as a tool of espionage.
I feel like it would be a better tool of espionage if it didn't walk up to us and cuddle with us and cause problems. It ran into the mines nearby, and yeah, all sorts of stuff happened. If it's a spy, it's not a very good spy, I must say.
Scratches his scruffy little beard.
I will go to the kitchen and, or I'll go to the bedroom, and wherever the bowl happens to be, I'll pick it up again, and I'll fill it up with water and put it near the cat again to either see if something happens or if it wants to drink.
The cat will go over to the bowl, paw at the water a little bit, and then begin to lap it up as the cleric looks back at you and says, well, I don't see anything innately magical about it, but it definitely is a bizarre creature. If you don't mind me casting spells inside your house, I'd like to...
You're not going to harm it, are you?
No, not yet.
Okay, I just don't want it to come to any harm, because I feel like it's not dangerous. It's just strange.
Well, let's see what we're dealing with here. And he turns back to the cat only to see that the water in the bowl has once again like levitated up and is now sitting out of the bowl, so the cat doesn't have to lean over so far. It can just sit straight up and like lap at the water floating in the air above it. Stops and looks at the thing and says, this is definitely a magical creature. Look at that. I don't even...
I've never seen a creature drink like that. I'm pretty sure this is magical.
He looks at you, furrows his brow. Perhaps we should do something about this.
Do you have any ideas?
It's quite small. It would be an easy thing to put it out of its misery.
I wouldn't want to do that.
Well, then, he scratches his head.
Britt,
What
you
do
mentioned
think
that
should be done?
You wanted a cat, right?
I love cats, but
it's kind of like
she
a
looks
cat.
at this. Yes, ma'am. It's kind of like a cat.
I just don't know if I can take care of a cat. I haven't prepared at all for this if I were to keep it.
Well, it's just you here, right?
Yeah.
No man? No girl? No
No.
children?
It's just me.
No other responsibilities?
I guess maybe I can keep it, but you know, I don't know if I'm a cat person and if I would take good care of it.
She looks at you with those big eyes that say,
Oh, jeez.
well,
Okay, maybe. I guess I'll. Can I keep it even? And I look toward the cleric.
well, if you don't keep it, then someone should put the poor creature down.
I mean, we could just release it back into the forest.
A
But
magical cat walking around? That seems like a bad idea.
that's
It's
where
the
it
sort
came
of thing that
from,
one
so-
should keep an eye on.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could take care of it. Yeah, I'll just have to make some preparations and learn how to take care of cats because I've actually never owned a cat. But I guess
Oh,
Britt, you
they're
know a
easy
thing or two,
enough.
so
They'll hunt mice or birds or whatever, and mostly take care of themselves. Brit nods. They're fairly self-sufficient creatures, ma'am. You shouldn't have any trouble with it.
do you think it could maybe help me hunt in that case? If it
They both chuckle. Unless you're hunting field mice, I don't think it'll be much use for that.
I just
Some companionship might do you well, Lady Lydia.
I
After the, and he kind of trails off, alluding to the fact that your family has probably all recently died in this very war. Some of them sent off to fight and never heard from again. Those that remained in the city are now burned out and long dead. He trails off after, accidentally bringing it up.
look, I'm
And,
fine on my own. I've been fine for the past 2 years. I can make it on my own. I don't need any companions. But I guess maybe this.
Social connections are the bedrock of society. It's good for your mental well-being to have someone around.
At the very least, I think this cat might need someone around. So I guess there's that.
He pats you affectionately on the shoulder and goes to exit.
Oh, so one last thing. Do you think this will get me in trouble?
Lady Lydia, I don't think there's anything you could do that would get you in trouble around here. You're the last noble remaining.
I just feel like having a cat that can light people on fire potentially is not great, and I'm a little bit worried about what people are going to think about this. But I'll.
Well, it is the responsibility of your people to see to the betterment of the world around them. This may not be the normal way nobility is expressed, but it's very in line with your role and duty.
I guess so. Yeah. And I'll glance over at the cat again, presumably licking the bubble in the air. Okay, yeah, I'll keep the cat around for now, I guess. Yeah, thank you so much for taking a look. Yeah,
My
I don't
pleasure.
know. Do you think the townspeople are going to be concerned, or should we just not mention it?
There's only one way to find out, and I don't think you can afford to not mention it.
I suppose,
It's
yeah.
pretty hard to miss a large white cat like that, especially one that floats water and who knows what else.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much.
And with that, the cleric will leave. Britt will make a polite excuse to go home, and Lydia will have a cat. Welcome to
Yeah.
cathood. Cat ownership?
I
Cat
guess.
caretaking? Something.
Is it a cat?
Is cat-ish. And I think this is a good spot to close this chapter. And we can skip forward in time a little bit to what is the next big event. I think the next big event is when the cat displays some more humanistic qualities. This will be maybe a year later. when the cat's paws have been growing not so much longer as wider, and the opposable nature of the hands are really coming into play. Instead of just having the one little toe bean on each thing, a series of beans are developing that correspond with finger joints, allowing for proper grasping. And this is sort of something that you've noticed on the cat's paws from time to time. But this day in particular, it becomes undeniable that something is happening here. Because as you are getting ready to leave one morning and shutting the door behind you, the cat reaches up, turns the doorknob, opens the door, and walks outside on its hind legs.
I'll turn around and be like, did you just
Meow.
did you just open the door? And I'll kind of look at it confused and like, is this the first time it's walking on its hind legs as well, or?
I mean, it's still sort of like holding onto the doorknob. So is it like walking on its hind legs, or is it balancing, But it's just leaning slightly against the door, still reaching up towards the knob, and looks at you dead in the eyes and gives you a meow.
Pearl, what are you doing? Look, you're not allowed to open this door. You should. I'm heading out. You should stay at home. There's no adventure right now.
And the cat will
And I'll
sit down in the doorway.
I guess I'll give the cat some pets, and I'll just be like, hey, Pearl, would you be okay staying at home, or do you really want to go out and hunt with me? Or
It will take a few steps and be outside the door.
okay, all right, sure. I'll sigh a little bit, close the door, yeah, I guess I'll just lead Pearl along with me. And I mean, we've been out hunting for, like, we tried to hunt a few times, I imagine, at this point. So we've, like, I guess not, like, actively hunting together, because she's still just 1 year older than last time, but yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can walk along with her across the little catwalks. You get to a staircase. You begin to head down. One of the other villagers starts, chiding at you with their friend just a little too loudly, just loud enough that you can overhear the person say, "Yep, there goes the weird woman with the weird cat."
Excuse me, what did you say?
His friend jabs the guy in the ribs. He looks really embarrassed that you overheard him. Nothing, man. Just praising the majestic nature of that fine white kitty.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard something else, but I'm glad it wasn't that. I'll just turn
you can
around and
see
roll my eyes and walk
The
along
deep
with Pearl.
crimson in the cheeks. Yeah.
While we're walking, I think I'm gonna stop somewhere along where there's like kind of flat ground, and hold up my hand like above Pearl a little bit to see if she would want to stand up again. Because I got the sense that Pearl was looking pretty proficient at standing up, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get Pearl to stand up.
Yeah, she'll try and reach out for your hands and balance on her hind legs and kind of teeter back and forth. But as long as you hold your hand there, she seems very comfortable on her hind legs.
Gonna like slowly move my hands to the side to see if it's like flops
She
down
will-
or if it's
Nope, she'll
walking around.
teeter and totter right after it.
Huh. And then I'll crouch down, give Pearl a little treat, and then I guess we'll just keep walking along the river, making our way out to the to the forest.
Yeah, she will walk on all fours with you for a while, and maybe half an hour out of town, as you're making your way through the canyon into the forest, she'll like hop up on a rock to try and bat at a dragonfly, end up on her hind legs again, and then just hop down from the rock on her hind legs still. Like a
Pearl, are you gonna stand on your hind legs all this time? This is
look.
okay. I mean, you can do that if you want. It looks a little weird, but
She sits down immediately. almost as if she understands what you're saying. And
No,
looks a
you
little like,
you can still do it. It's fine. It's okay. And I'll give her some scritches and pets, and I'll try to encourage her to stand up again to not make her feel bad.
yeah, she'll quickly return to a bipedal walk. And for that day, as you go about the woods, she will alternate strutting on 2 feet and walking on all fours. Certainly bizarre behavior for a cat.
I think I get the sense that Pearl really wants to do this for whatever reason, and I'll try to like hold her hand and walk around to like, if she's on her hind leg, hold her hand so that she has some balancing to, so some balance and whatnot, because I guess for whatever reason she wants to do this, so fine.
And very quickly and naturally, her opposable thumb will wrap around your hand as if you are holding the hand of a small child and not a strange feline walking with you.
And I think at that point, Lydia will feel blessed. Feels very, very cute of the cat to do that, but she also dies a little inside because she never planned to have kids, and this feels very kid-like.
Didn't want kids, just wanted a cat. Turned out your cat was a child all along. Ugh. It's a classic, tragic tale of the modern human.
Exactly. Fine, Pearl. I guess we'll walk like this. I don't know if we're gonna walk that way back into town, or if that's gonna... I think I'm gonna do that. I think Pearl probably wants to do it, and yeah.
All right. Well, you can stroll back into town after your day of hunting. At this point in time, the game in the forest is at a particularly low state. The various armies coming around through these areas have depleted the woods of a lot of the big game that one can hunt to sustain themselves. So you're mostly out here looking for birds or rabbits or maybe, a snake or something that you can grab.
Mm-hmm. I imagine Pearl should be able to catch snakes at the very least, right?
I think so. So why don't you give me some sort of archery check against a creature, Lydia. Let me give you a weapon with which to do these things. You would be using a short bow.
Mm-hmm.
So give me a short bow attack.
Let's see. Short bow. There we go.
It's an excellent shot. You will skewer a rabbit completely all the way through, and little Pearl will bound after it, pick up the rabbit in both hands, and then place the rabbit in her teeth before returning to all fours and hopping after you.
Oh, thanks, Pearl. Thank you, I guess. Lydia is noticing that this is now pretty useful to have a companion around. Gives Pearl some scritches. And we wander around a little bit more and see if we can find another rabbit before heading home.
Yeah, you don't find anything else that day. This is just enough to take care of the two of you for one full day. You can return home with the cat walking on 2 legs, and you will get quite the attention coming from the people of the town. The folks that are already out on their balconies shout for families and friends to come out and see what's happening, and the word spreads rather fast. Everyone shows up to see the strange creature that's been here for a year now, walking on its hind legs, holding your hand as it walks into town. Some people make lighthearted jokes about, looks like she's got a kid after all. Other people will look on in wonder. The children especially are like, wow, look at that thing go. What is it? Some of the people are a little bit concerned. This is definitely unusual behavior in a time where unusual things usually mean danger or death. And they feel concerned for what this might bring the town.
I think I'm mostly going to try to ignore people and just kind of casually walk back home. Yeah, is Pearl holding a rabbit at this point, or maybe not if we're holding hands? Maybe it's not.
No,
possible.
It's probably slung over your back or something.
Actually, where would you take, like, if you've been hunting for something, where do you take, like, the...
Well, if you're a proper hunter, you would just take it home and skin it yourself.
Right, okay.
You would sell the pelt to a leather worker or a furrier or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Then we would just head directly home, I suppose.
You can get home, skin the rabbit, all whatever. The night proceeds fairly normally until maybe an hour after sundown. You've been doing the last little bit of work by firelight. As you're getting ready to go to bed, though, there is a knock at your door, a loud, heavy.
Okay. Oh, jeez. All right. Make myself ready for comments about the cat, as usual, because I presume that's got to be a pretty common occurrence at this point.
Usually
right.
they're not quite cat calls, but they're people yelling at you from the sidelines.
Yeah.
As you're walking around. Usually people don't come bother you at your house.
Yeah. All right.
Kind of a pun to avoid. Sorry. Yes.
I'll open the door.
You can smell the breath on this person.
Oh.
This is one of the middle-aged women in town. This one in her early 50s. She stands there, reeking of booze, and goes, You're the one with the cat, Lady Lydia.
Yes. I am Lydia, yes. And who might you be?
Don't pretend you don't know who I am, says the drunken woman, who you've seen around, but you definitely don't remember this random woman's name.
Oh, sorry. I mostly stay at home, and yeah, I'm very sorry.
Domina!
Oh, okay.
Domina, how do you not know who I am? I've lived here for 3 generations. You're just the newcomer in town. And then you bring this thing with you? This thing that walks on 2 legs? That's not natural for a cat.
Yeah, I mean, cats. Some of them have weird quirks. Some of them have
Not like that,
running
they
around
don't.
a lot, and some of them, like lying down upside down. Cats are pretty weird. And
Listen, me lady. You got a problem. Let me take it off your hands. It'll make everything go easy. Just hand it over.
Oh no, we're quite fine here. Don't worry about it. I got everything under control.
She drunkenly tries to shove past you.
I will
would
hold on to the door to make sure that it doesn't open further.
Yeah, I would like you to make me a strength check, opposed by this woman's strength check, as she tries to shove her way into the house and come find little Pearl.
Why does Lydia get
roll
Pearl's
a natural
rolls?
1?
God damn it. I'm just cursed.
Well, she rolls a 14. I think she just catches you off guard. You're a noble woman. It's literally against the law for someone to force their way into your house. In the days before the war, that was like a fine or a crime punishable by jail time. So the idea that this woman would just shove her way into your home doesn't even cross your mind until she's already pushed you to the floor and walked in after little Pearl.
Miss, this is highly inappropriate. I need you to leave right now.
She reaches out with her arms for the kitty. Come here, little kitty. I'm not gonna hurt you.
Hey, you need to leave. You need to leave right now. I don't want you to hurt my cat. Just leave my cat alone, okay? Is there anything you want other than...
She ignores you and goes right for the cat, who clearly sees this woman as a threat, hops up on a table, stretches out in full force, its tail poofs up, and the cat begins that low...
Okay, I think Pearl might be angry with you. I walk up to her.
Shut up! She yells at you as she stumbles towards the cat.
I put my hand on the shoulder of, what was her name? Domina?
Domina.
Okay, I just put a hand on her shoulder and try to turn her around and be like, hey, look, you've clearly had a lot to drink.
A wild swing with her elbow behind her shoulder. 15 is actually a great random shot. The elbow will catch you in the jaw. Not doing any serious damage, but definitely sending you stepping back a few feet. And I think that's when Pearl's vicious meow becomes a small mote of fire that sparks on her whiskers again before launching forth kind of space below her nose for A 16, striking the woman for 3 points of damage as the flames erupt on her face, scorching her hair, burning off her eyebrows entirely. The woman shrieks, drops to the floor, and begins to scramble backwards towards the door.
I'll just crouch down next to her. I'm so sorry, and just.
Monster! Monster! We have to kill it!
Are you
she
okay?
says.
Are you hurt? Are you fine? I'm guessing her face is not burning right now, at the very least.
No, there's a little bit of a scarring on her face. Mostly it's the hair that's been removed. You can see that the eyelashes themselves, all the eyelashes are entirely gone. She's got that weird naked face effect going on. And it's the wrong die set. Let's see, is she brave enough to try and deal with this herself, or is she cowardly enough to run away? No, she tries to scramble for the door. You are between her and the door, so you can stop her if you would like, especially since she's, terrified and drunk.
I don't think.
Then she is out the door
okay.
and down the catwalk, and any thoughts you might have had about stopping her will be lost. The kitty Pearl hops down from the spot and comes over and begins to sort of lick at your jaw where you had been elbowed, and then
Pearl,
paws at it with the little beans on her right hand.
What did you just do to that lady?
Meow.
And I'm guessing the whole room now smells of burnt hair.
Yeah, and with only one door, that smell is gonna linger in here for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to open that door right now. Okay, Pearl, we need to be more careful with this. We can't just. I don't know if you're doing this intentionally, but try not to use your magic on. I was gonna say innocent people, but I'm not sure if they were innocent at this point. Okay.
She dips
just
her
be
head
careful.
low.
There might be people who might be angry with you if you keep doing these types of things. To be fair, she was very angry with you, and I kind of wanted to shove her out, and I didn't really want to keep her around, but maybe don't throw fire at them. I think that's a little bit intense. Okay. I will go to the door and look out of the door and see if there's commotion now. If someone just if she just ran out screaming or.
She ran out screaming, came across this big bridge right next to your house, and is now on the opposite side of the bridge, yelling at the neighbors over there. It's dark. Some people are starting to come out of their doors. The woman is, wildly gesticulating around. Someone brings out a torch or a candle, and you can see the illumination of her face as she jabs in the direction of your house again, to the fine folks in this little corner up here.
Okay. I turn around to Pearl. I think some people are going to be very angry with us now, and I need you to behave. I need you to make sure that you don't cause any more trouble right now, because I'm going to have to convince people to have you stay here, and this is going to be hard. Just try to calm down. Try to not do whatever that was, okay?
She winds back and forth in between your legs in a little figure 8, looks up at you with those big sad eyes.
Okay, I'll get you food.
Sure,
you can have some. And I'll sort of make a little bed for her on the couch, and get some food. Hopefully distract her with something normal.
Yeah, as you fill out the food dish and she starts to eat, and a few minutes pass, there comes at your door again.
All right, coming, and I'll open the door.
Yeah. It's Mayor Barnaby. Actually, no, he's not Mayor Barnaby yet. He's just Barnaby the man in town, one of the merchants.
Oh.
Excuse me, Lady Lydia.
Barnaby.
I've heard some disturbing things. I thought it would be best to get some fresh eyes on this.
Oh, if it's about the accident with Domina, she kind of barged into my apartment. I don't really know what was up with her. She seemed to have a problem with Pearl.
That may be the case, but what she said has caused quite some concern. She says that the cat threw a ball of fire at her face, and she has the burns to match.
Yeah.
Is that true?
That, unfortunately, yes. I'm not gonna lie to you and pretend it didn't happen. It seems like Pearl... she was kind of starting to attack Pearl, I think, trying to catch her, and Pearl got really, really scared. And as you know, Pearl is a bit of a strange creature. And yeah, it seems like just this accident happened.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything I can do to help or repair the damage?
There's some concern amongst the normal townsfolk that this cat might be a problem. It's a very dry canyon, milady. Accidental sparks of fire could be devastating, and it's not even to mention the coal mines around here. You catch one of those burning and you'll never put it out again.
Yeah, I've been talking to them to make sure that they can secure their mines and whatnot so that it's cat safe. And I've been talking to Pearl and trying to...
A lot of work for a stray creature, you know. And did we see you walking with it through town on its hind legs, holding its hand?
Yeah, it's a weird quirk with, you know, cats are kind of strange sometimes. They have their own little behaviors, and Pearl just wanted to stand on her hind legs.
Seem to have grown quite attached to the little thing. You,
Oh, I mean,
well,
I'm
Pearl,
taking
yes?
care of it. Yes, Pearl.
Usually when people have pets, cats, they, have 5 or 6 names for it. Do you have other names for this little creature?
You know, I kind of just call her Pearl. Sometimes she's a bit of a little bastard, but, you know, only when she's being causing some ruckus somewhere, but it's just Pearl.
Bipedal Pearl will walk up behind you and slip her little paw into your hand at your side.
Pearl, not
And
now.
Barnaby-
I'm talking to Barnaby.
Will look down at the cat who's behaving awfully childlike and up at you. And Lady Lydia, this is quite the
It's pretty strange. I recognize that. But look at her eyes. I don't think she's doing this intentionally, and she was defending herself, to be fair.
He squats down beside her, and small, tiny little sparks dance between her whiskers. Not aggressively or threateningly, just sort of like going off around her whiskers. And he watches it for a moment and stands back up and looks at you and goes, "Well, I think that you might be getting yourself into some trouble by keeping that creature around."
I
Just wanted to
think
let you know
so,
that there's
too. I mean, we've already run into all sorts of issues so far, but, you know, I think Pearl will grow up, and I think it's going to be less of a concern in the future. You know, kids are, you know, cause all sorts of problems.
What do you think she's going to grow up into?
An older cat, I believe. Or
An older cat that walks on 2 legs and spits fire?
she might do that. I guess I don't quite know what her future is going to be, but, you know, her future is whatever it's going to be, and I'm going to be here for her and support her. I don't know what the alternative is, Barnaby.
He shrugs his shoulders gently.
Nobody else wanted to take care of her, and clearly she's acting like any other person would. She's affectionate and, you know, generous toward people, and might be defensive against people who try to attack her, which, you know, most of us are. And I think we should just take care of her as just any other person.
Sounds very
right?
reasonable for a person.
Yeah. I guess I kind of do see her as a person.
Well, I just thought you should know that there was some commotion, and You might expect Lady Demina to cause you some more problems in the future. Thought it might be nice to hear that from a friendly face before, well, before something was less friendly.
Oh, what is Domina up to? I mean, I obviously didn't want to, her face to get burnt. That was not any of our intentions. But I'm sure it was.
Of course not.
But yeah, Pearl was cornered and scared, and Domina was very drunk, barged into my apartment and tried to attack Pearl.
Well, that's wildly unacceptable.
Yes.
She has no right to barge into your house.
And even if I had a normal cat, I don't think that would be acceptable either. So I don't see what this has to do with Pearl walking on hind legs.
She did fail to mention that piece of information. She said that she was invited in, and then the cat attacked her. I tried to hold the door, and she knocked the door open. I fell down to the ground, and she started walking immediately to the cat to try to, I guess, take Pearl with her. Well, I'll go talk to Demina and see if we can't settle this amicably.
I truly didn't intend for this to happen, but...
I'm sure you didn't. You've always been a good citizen here. Your word is beyond reproach.
Thank you. I'm sorry for all the trouble.
Pats Pearl on the head a few more times, and will take his leave. And that's it for that night. That's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. For now.
Mm-hmm.
Until a few more days pass. And as you're leaving one day with Pearl, a rock flies from one of these balconies and strikes poor Pearl in the back.
No.
Not hard enough to cause serious damage, but someone has clearly thrown a rock. And by the time you whirl around to see who did it, there's no one looking over the edge, no one observing, no one hanging around to have thrown it.
I'm gonna crouch down and just make sure that Pearl's okay. And first, then see if I can see anything. But I guess I don't see any person throwing it or whatever was happening, right?
Yeah, it seems just sort of like someone must have thrown the rock and then taken a hiding behind the railings.
Who was that? I'd shout.
Give me some sort of check. What sort of check do you think that is? Is that a persuasion? Is that an intimidation? Is that a...
Perception, maybe?
Perception would be to try and spot a person, but if you're calling out to them to try and get them to respond... Intimidation? Insight? I don't know.
Yeah, either intimidation or just some sort of charisma check, I guess.
Yeah. Why don't you make me some sort of charisma check? Whatever you want.
Okay.
Another natural 20. Yeah. Well, you called out, and that must be the tone in your voice, but there Domina is. She pops up from behind a railing. One bottle in hand, a rock in the other hand, and shouts out to you, "It was me! That's a monster you've got there!" Her eyebrows and hair still haven't grown back in. Her face is like red and peeling as if she's gotten a really bad sunburn. It's an abomination!
Domina, this is completely unacceptable. You
Abomination! She cries out again.
You have a problem with alcohol. I feel like you need to deal with this. And I'll hug Pearl to make sure she's not getting rocks thrown at her again.
If it was possible for her face to flush further, it does. She drops the rock, takes a swig of the drink, and storms off down the gangplanks.
Is she on her way down to me, or...?
You have to watch for a while, because to get down to you, she actually has to walk away and then down and then away and then down and then all the way back over. And if you wait and watch, that's what she does. She takes the time to walk all the way down one set of stairs, all the way down another, and then another set of stairs, and then starts walking up the pathway towards you. At this point in time, you are probably somewhere over here. Why don't we actually bring out a little Lydia token? And Domina is coming along the walkway, maybe over here. Do we have a little Domina token we can make? We don't quite have Drunk Woman, so we will just use this one.
Tristal's token. It's got a wine.
So Domina will saunter on over this way towards you when she slips in the river and hits her head against a rock. And does not move.
Oh, geez. Okay. I'll just make my way over there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, her body begins to float down the river a little bit.
I'll wade into the water and as much as I can try to pull her out of the river.
Mm-hmm. Some people will have seen what's going on over here and come to the edges of the balconies and call down, "Is she okay? Is she fine?" And it's pretty clear that she's not okay, and she's not fine. This was a pretty good smash on her head, and she's clearly inhaled some amount of water from the creek, from the river.
I'll pull her up on the shore and try to I don't know, can you squish the water out of someone's lungs?
You can give me a medicine check to see
try to fix the situation a little bit.
Yep. It's a pretty good roll. You can squish her enough that she coughs up some water. She's got a serious head wound, but the cleric can see to that.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if the cleric's somewhere nearby, or if I can go get the cleric.
Yes, you can go fetch him. You'll find that someone else has already grabbed him and brought him halfway by the time you get there. And he will patch up the rest of her wounds with a cure spell. And take her under his arm and pull her away and begin to talk to her about, some of her problems and her clumsiness and whatnot. And while he's leading her away to see to her wounds, he gives you a worried look. Not so much like I blame you for this, but more of clearly something is getting out of hand with this woman sort of look.
Can I talk to the cleric, or did he kind of storm off? Well,
he kind of tries to take her away to someplace to rest and heal so he can mend her wounds. If you'd like to follow after them, you can easily do so.
Yeah, I'll just walk after a little bit and So I don't know what's up with Domina, but Domina has been very drunk many times, and she just tried to attack Pearl today.
Shut up! It's your cat's fault!
Excuse me, it is not my fault that you slipped and fell into the river, trying to chase us down.
If your cat hadn't thrown a fireball in my face, I wouldn't be in this situation.
Yeah, you wouldn't be in this situation either if I didn't save you. I could have just left you in the river, okay? I'm trying to be kind to you here.
That would be murder!
It would be, yes. And I don't engage in those types of things, but it seems like you are really keen on trying to murder my cat, so please, can you just get your alcohol problem under control?
Crofter, you heard her! She said she wanted to kill me! We gotta stop her! And the cat too! We gotta stop them both! He pats her on the shoulder and says, There, lady, you just need some rest. You hit your head pretty hard. I don't think you know quite what you're saying. She mutters at you and the cleric. Cleric looks back over his shoulder at you with I think she might need some rest now. Perhaps you should give her some distance and space?
I would if I could, but this time she was right outside my door, throwing a rock at Pearl as soon as we left. I don't know what else I can do apart from trying to stay at home.
Well, I'll see if I can't talk some sense into the lady.
Thank you so much.
Worried, he hauls her back into the house, and you and Pearl can go off on your hunting.
Did Pearl see this whole ordeal, or was... I don't know where Pearl was.
No, there was a section of water here that she really didn't want to cross, and so she is hanging out on the other side, waiting for you to return. Daintily standing on all fours, waiting for the human to come back. No need to get near the water.
Probably don't want to get near the drunk person throwing rocks either, so... Okay.
The rest of that day's hunt will go fine. Pearl will be bipedal through the woods half the time, quadrupedal through the woods the other half of the time. She'll help you catch things from a distance that you can bring down with your bow. And the day will pass fairly normally. But the animosity with Lady Domina and Pearl only continues to grow. It's from here on, it's not so direct. It's, snide comments. You can see, various looks from Domina and her family and her friends. You get the distinct impression that she is spreading lies and slander about you and about Pearl, because the people in the town that know her a little bit better or closer to her, her opinions seem to be rubbing off on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the oddities of the cat walking on all fours, magical effects have been seen happening around. The fire is one thing, but people have also seen the floating water. Not enough that, a whole crowd has seen it at one time, but a few individual people have made those sorts of reports back to others. There's a growing curiosity and concern for the creature.
What is the general societal, or like in Trog Canyon, what is people's stance on like nobility in general? Like, is it looked down upon? Is it kind of like, oh, you snobbish like people, or is it like neutral? Or I'm just wondering if that plays into like why people are distrustful, or would that work the other way?
For most people, it would work the other way. Mm-hmm. Most people would see Lydia as a sign of the former glory of the Farron Empire, as one of the former leaders, even though you're too young to actually lead anything and you're not actually in a position of power, but you still have that representation of the way things ought to have been. Mm-hmm. That's for most people. Some of the folks are a little bit more anti-establishment and were sort of, those damn hoity-toity nobles back before the war. And now that it's over, they're still muttering in them circles well, we don't even have a noble class anymore. Why do we call her Lady Lydia? She's just Lydia. We don't need these honorifics. Those are the old ways. But mostly people have a pretty solid respect for Lydia.
Mm-hmm. I guess I'll just, as usual, try to. I think for Lydia, I think she's gonna try to, in as much as possible, kind of stay to doing her own things and trying not to get too involved with other people, because obviously she recognizes that there is some instability with Pearl, and it's only going to cause more issues the more opportunities we create for these things to happen. So I think I'm just going to be really careful with what Pearl is allowed to do, always being together with Pearl whenever she's going out. And trying to make sure that I'm never taking any risks where people can criticize me for taking that risk. I want to be able to just be honest about having done everything I could to keep everything safe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The confrontation of Lady Domina comes to a head 3 months later. This is one of these days where you wanted to go out hunting like you do, and Pearl was happy to be taking a cat nap in a sunbeam. Didn't want to go out today. And you didn't find out until you got home that evening that there'd been a problem. Pearl had opened a door, walked outside, was sitting on one of these here third-story catwalks that stretches between the two boardwalks on either side of the canyon. And since each of these layers are about 15 feet up, that makes it, 15, 30, about 45 feet plus a handrail. What is 50 feet in meters? 15 meters or so off the ground. So it's pretty high. And Lady Domina, seeing her opportunity here, made a leaping dive to shove Pearl off from this high point onto the water and rocks below. But being the drunken mess that she is, and Pearl's natural dexterity, Pearl easily slipped out of the way. The lady hit the side of the boardwalk with enough force to break some of the rotting boards and tumbled to her death. There were plenty of witnesses to this event. It's clearly not Pearl's fault. There's no way Pearl could ever be held responsible for this clear act of attempted, if not murder, at least attempted injury or assault that, through Lady Domina's problems and own faults, resulted in her death. But the issue of the cat is more forefront than ever now.
When did I arrive back?
You arrive back in the evening to find much of the town quiet, already sort of outside on their boardwalks. And as you walk in, you can see them whispering in your direction. And immediately you can tell that something is off. Everyone's outside and everyone's watching you as you come in. And as you make it all the way to the staircase to come on up, you are met by the cleric.
What is going on? What's the...
I think I have something I need to show you.
Oh,
And
okay.
He will lead you into the temple, which is right near the staircase you were walking up anyway. And he'll bring you to Lady Domina's body and explain to you what happened. That she tried to throw Pearl off the ledge and ended up falling herself and dying. I'm so sorry to report this to you. It appears that she tried to hurt Pearl and hurt herself in the end.
Wait, where was she trying to hurt Pearl?
He explains the whole thing. The major bridge right near your house that Pearl was perched on. He was witness to the entire event. I hope this would end the conflict between Pearl and some of the more superstitious people of the town, but I think it will only worsen things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how's her family?
Distraught, frustrated, and angry, but no one blames no one blames Pearl. He says, switching his language from referring to her as the cat or the creature to the, human personified name that you've been working with for a while now.
Where is Pearl right now?
She's back in your house. She saw what happened, fled, ran inside, and the little creature, little person locked the door. So we haven't been able to get in, and I didn't want to break down the door.
Okay. Pearl is safe at least. I don't know what to tell Domina's family.
I don't think you should say anything.
Yeah, I guess I'm the last person they want to see right now.
I think so. You'd best go check on the little one, and you should hear all this from me.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm so sorry for all of this, these troubles and commotion that's been. I don't know. Maybe I just shouldn't have brought her into town.
You have a gentle soul, milady. I think that you wouldn't have been able to live with yourself if you had thrown her back out into the wilds.
I think you're right. I just worry about everything that's happening. She wouldn't be dead right now
if she didn't throw herself at your
yeah,
ward.
Well,
if she didn't drink so much, if she wasn't so angry and frustrated.
I'll try to blame her drinking problems, I suppose. Okay, I'll go check on Pearl. I'll go make sure that she's okay.
You will find little Pearl, scared, sitting on the bed, freaking out. And when you arrive in, she's much taller now. She's probably doubled or tripled her weight since when you first found her. She will launch herself towards you in a way that you will have to catch her and almost fall to the ground with the weight of the cat started as 20 pounds. Now it's a 60-pound creature. Now it's the size of a medium-sized dog that hurls itself into your arms.
I'll just catch her as she hurls herself toward me. Pearl, it's okay. It's okay. You're alive. Everything's fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not angry with you. I'm a little bit angry with you for leaving the house without, you're not allowed to, but It's okay.
And her meows will slowly turn into ma, ma, ma.
Pearl,
And
did you just talk?
the cat buries its head in your shoulder. The maws slowly leave way to actual crying and human-like tears rolling off of her eyelid, or rolling out of her eyes, off of her fur and splattering on the ground.
I'll just
Some of
keep
them
hugging
not
her,
quite
I suppose.
making it all the way and actually just floating around her. Other ones descending to the ground uncontrollably.
Look, Pearl, we're gonna be okay. Don't worry. I'm here for you, and I'll take care of you. Whatever happens, I'll do my best to protect you. Don't worry about it. I'll give her extra tasty food that evening and make sure that it's a cozy evening where Pearl does everything she likes. Including, I'm gonna let her scratch the sofa. I'm not gonna tell her not to do that this time.
Oh my. Well, I think this is a great spot to end our second chapter here. And when we come back on the other side, we'll have a little bit more of Pearl when she was quite young and figure out the position in society and how all this has affected things, yada, 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 on the other side of the break.
All right. I'll see y'all after the break.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Embers of the Wilds. Over the next few months, Pearl will begin with some vocalizations that meows turns to ma's, which eventually become mamas, and the other small noises that a human child might make. Pearl's developmental path is a little bit different compared to other creatures. It appears that she spent a few years as like a cat-like thing with some human qualities, and then the transition from that into more of like a bipedal humanoid cat person happens rather quickly. What would normally be a human's teenage years happens in Pearl's early years, maybe her like 8 to 10, and it's kind of condensed into that 2-year patch. So we're going to explore some of the activities of that time. There are 2 moments in particular that I want to talk about. One of them is the first time her magic accidentally causes a serious problem. And I don't mean burning the hair off of some, violent woman's face. I mean the first time that she actually does something damaging with her magic. And I was going to leave that decision up to you. When is the first moment, or what is the first incident in which Pearl's magic goes a little haywire and causes some real problems?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I actually haven't thought about that. I mean, anything involving fire is easy because there's been a lot of fire accidents and everything is dry. And yeah, so that's happened before. Stuff with water has happened before as well. But I guess it's easier to cause an accident with fire, so imagine there would be...
That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So where does this fire happen? Is it inside a building? Is it in one of the mines? Is it a garden out front? Is it a patch of forest that catches fire in town or out of town? Is it one of the bridges? Does she burn a chicken or like a llama?
Can this only happen if she casts a spell? Like, is this sort of like the cantrip surge, or is this like a general instability?
I think this is one of those problems with wild wizards when their magic is very innate and they are too young to accurately control it. Sometimes it might flare up when they are in deep emotion, very angry or very sad or very something. Or perhaps when they are attempting to create a spell effect, but they just have no control over it, and it just becomes a thing outside of their forces. There's a lot of ways that
I think Pearl at this point knows, like, for sure that she's not like allowed to like cause trouble, and she's not supposed to cast spells near flammable objects. And like, I imagine Lydia's talked to her a lot about that, to the point where she's tired of hearing about it.
Yeah.
So I imagine it would only happen either, like you mentioned, of like strong emotions causing something to happen. You know, kind of like the person barging into Lydia's house, like that type of moment where like something is pressuring Pearl and she kind of just reacts without thinking. So I imagine something like that could happen. Something someone said to her, maybe. Something that would just set fire to something nearby. I'm not sure what that would be, though.
Well, let's just take it one step at a time then. Let's either decide the location or the triggering event first. Do you have an idea for either one of those?
If it caused a lot of trouble, it's got to be visible in town. So I imagine someone's garden or some trees like in town, or maybe even a bridge or like something that people care about and would see.
I think the bridges are a good spot to go because these are incredibly important structures here in town. Each of these bridges represents a huge amount of work to create and saves an incredible amount of time about being able to go back and forth without having to walk all the way down and across. So one of these bridges, not the biggest one, that's the hardest one to damage. What's the longest bridge? I think this one, way over on the east side of town, is the longest bridge.
This one?
Inherently, yeah. That's inherently, no, wait, one more over.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's the least stable of all the bridges. The one who damage to which would be the most catastrophic. So what is Pearl up to on this bridge? I imagine she's on it when the effect happens.
Probably,
what would
yeah.
she be doing? This is a third-story bridge, so it does have the highest view. Is she just like perched and watching the world? She's definitely a teenager at this point, so she definitely has vocabulary and speech, bipedal hands, probably holding conversations with people.
Oh, I'm pretty bad at coming up with this on the spot. I mean, the easy one is like people bullying her, because I imagine that happens every now and then.
That's a good way to do it. So Pearl, the human, the person at this point in time, not necessarily human, but definitely a full-fledged person capable of speech and conversation, having to attend classes. I guess Lydia's probably teaching her, actually. Not probably in a public school setting.
Oh yeah, I think Lydia and Pearl would be good friends in general. So maybe Pearl was leaving Lydia's place, or maybe went away to pick up some supplies or something on the way home.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's probably a what would you call a butcher over here somewhere, and Pearl must have been on the way to the butcher's to pick up something to eat and bring home. Maybe it's the day's chicken, or a slice of llama or whatever. But on the way home, with some fresh meat wrapped up, there are a small troop of kids on the bridge that she wishes to cross. These kids, numbering 6,
Damn.
are 1,
Oh, jeez.
2, 3, 1, 2. It is 4 girls and 1 boy on this bridge.
Are they like known bullies to me, or are they like just random kids? Or
They are sort of known troublemakers in town.
Okay.
Kids that, some of them don't have parents anymore. Some of them are orphans from the war. Other ones are just sort of troublemakers with, fallen into the wrong crowd sort of environment. They've formed their own little pack here, and they're a little bit nasty to each other, to the other kids in town, and to some of the adults. And here comes Pearl with this nice slice of meat all wrapped up, ready to be cooked. And the 6 kids are, orphans. They tend to be a little bit disadvantaged socioeconomically. And Pearl, this weird outcast of a person, a cat person that throws fireballs, and someone says, rumors had it she killed Lady Demina 5 years ago, responsible for her death, and these kids are, they're hungry, they're mad, they've got a chip on their shoulder, and Pearl is their favorite target to pick on.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess walking over across the bridge, I guess I'll notice them on the other side, or...
Yeah, you make your way partway across the bridge when the kids kind of come out from one of these sections where they've been hanging out, and some of them start taunting Pearl. What do they say?
I think I'm just gonna hold on to the stuff I bought and kind of try to ignore them and just like try to just walk and just kind of try to block.
Pearl, your face makes me want to hurl. They taunt you.
Hey, what's your problem? What's your problem with me?
Maybe the fact that I've got 5 fingers and toes and you only have 5 fingers and 4 toes?
Hey, have you been counting my... Look, I just want to get across this bridge. I need to get home. We're cooking tonight, and I just brought this.
Why is your tail doing that funny thing? Are you controlling it, or is it just doing that on its own?
No, I'm just a little nervous. Okay, can you let me pass?
Sure. And they part, 3 on one side, 3 on the other side.
I kind of glance at them. Do they look like they actually want to let me pass, or? I carefully walk forward.
And if you can get between them fast enough, you might be able to get away. But you can tell that they're never just gonna let you walk by. But
okay.
You might be able to sprint by.
I guess I'm just slowly gonna walk forward and, like, I don't know, see if they actually mean what they say as I get closer and closer.
Of course they don't. You get about partway through them when one of them behind you grabs onto your tail and just holds. Doesn't yoink it, but just holds it so you can't really go anywhere.
Hey, don't grab my tail, and I'll just see if I can, like, pull it out from their grip.
Yeah, give me an opposed strength check against this child's 1d20 plus... Actually, 1d20 minus 1 because it's a youngish kid. They've only got a 4.
What is my stats at this point?
Let's see. Probably not quite as good as what you have now. So instead of your strength being 9, your strength is probably 7. So it'd be a d20 minus 2.
D20 minus 2.
Yeah, you managed to yoink your tail free from them. Out comes just a big plume of white hair that floats away, and they all point at the hair that's floating everywhere and laugh, and one of them calls you Bald Tail.
Look, that really hurts, And Pearl will just turn around and, like, start, like, walking back along the bridge to, like, see if she can find an alternate way to get across.
And this is when one of them makes a leaping grab to try and rip the package from the butchers out of your hand. We'll see if they can do it. 1d20 minus 1, but plus 2 for proficiency with, grabbing things. 13 is a pretty good roll. I think that is going to be enough. Your dex is probably already maxed at this point, so your AC would be 13, so they do manage to just barely grab the corner of the cloth and yoink it from your hands. And that nice cut of meat that you guys have been not quite saving up for, but waiting for her special occasion, that thick cut of alpaca, filet mignon, flies up over the balcony, tumbles the 13 meters or whatever it is to the ground below, and drops into the river. And all the kids erupt in laughter, mocking you, calling you Baldy Tail, calling you Pearl, who makes them want to hurl.
I will turn around to them, and at this point, I'm just gonna leap toward them, and I'm gonna scratch them across the face. Because now I'm pissed off.
Well, this is where the scratch becomes problematic, because emanating from your hand is not only a scratching claw, but a mote of flame. Why don't you make me a claw attack against a child?
You have to put it that way. Pearl is a child too, What would that be? D4?
Just a regular attack roll at first.
I don't know.
Use your claw attack from your character sheet because that'll key off of all the right stats.
Okay. That's fine.
Yes, it's a miss. The kid is easily out of the way in time, but then your hand with this burning fireball on it hits the side of the bridge and immediately sets aflame some of the old ropes that have been tying this thing together. And very quickly, fire begins to spread across the bridge as the rest of the kids bolt and scramble away, shrieking and crying. Luckily, the bridge is fairly close. Oh, never mind. It's not nearly as close as I thought it was. I was going to say it's right next to the temple. It's not right next to the temple. It's a problem. The fire begins to spread very quickly along the ropes on the edge of the bridge, and Pearl is standing there in the middle of the bridge, in shock, I think, for a moment, as the food is gone. There's fire. You didn't mean to set fire to things. You just wanted to, like, slap the kid around. And now the kids are gone, and you're on a burning bridge.
I think I would just, like, sort of slowly back off in shock as the fire starts just spreading. I don't know if I would have the, like, guts to look for the meat that I just bought. Yeah, I think I would just, like, sort of in shock, like, start backing out on the bridge toward the center.
Mm-hmm. The shriek of fire sends up cries along the town, and very quickly bucket brigades are formed as people try to pass water from the river up the 50 feet to be thrown onto the bridge. It is not the fastest of processes.
I think I would, at this point, I'm kind of scared that I'm going to get the blame for this. So I think I would, like, start running across the bridge on all fours and make my way up to hiding somewhere, probably somewhere here. Behind a tree and like kind of just observe from a distance because I'm really, really scared what's going to happen.
Yeah, you can scramble up into the tree back there as people come mostly from the southern side to try and put out the fire on the bridge. And you can see across the canyon, people are questioning the kids. What's gone on? What happened here? What was going on? And you can see them pointing at you and blaming you and jabbing their fingers in your direction, saying, she started it. She did it. She set the bridge on fire. She's a freak, I tell you. She's going to burn us all down.
So yeah, they have nobody to point to. So, you know.
They're pointing like across the river, definitely not at your spot, but she's over there somewhere. She's by Timmy's house. You know, Timmy must live in this building right here.
Or where's the butcher? Or I don't know if
the butcher is over here somewhere. You can walk underneath this person's balcony to get to the rest of these things. And I think the butcher is here, maybe.
Right. Yeah, I think I would just hide in the tree and just wait for this to pass because I'm worried this is gonna end up blaming me somehow.
It always does. You know, you're just trying to live your best life, and these people don't understand. They're afraid. They see something unusual, and they react with fear and terror. And they're fucking kids, too. Kids who are looking for an excuse to act out, looking for some anger release.
Heckin' kids.
Right, let's roll some dice here.
Pearl would never cause trouble.
Go. No. Oh my god, the fire brigade goes really badly. 5, 1, 1, and 6 on a d20. So the bridge isn't going to survive. When we are taking place in the future, this must have been a fairly recently rebuilt bridge because it will burn down tonight.
This is the most difficult bridge to build as well.
The most difficult bridge to replace. And over the course of the day, it will burn. People will quickly stop trying to save it and try to save the other things below it and around it to prevent the fire from consuming the whole of the town. And eventually, Timmy's mother will come out of the house and find Pearl in the tree as she's, throwing what little bits of water she can on the buildings below. And she'll see you crouched in the tree and approach you gently. Pearl, is that you? Are you okay?
I'm scared. It wasn't my fault, okay? It was the kids. They were bullying me.
It's okay. It's okay.
They were like trying to take the things that I was holding, and they were pulling my tail, and I didn't know what to do, and I just kind of I'm so sorry. I don't know how this could happen.
Did you start the fire? She says, concerned, as if she hadn't even considered that before.
Oh, I mean, not on purpose, okay? The kids, they were bullying me. I hate those kids. They keep doing this to me, and I just wanted to get home with the stuff that we were cooking tonight, and something happened. Look, Timmy, it wasn't my fault, I swear.
She reaches out to try and coax you out of the tree.
I will reluctantly hop out of the tree.
Okay. She'll hand you a bucket and tell you to get to work helping her dump fire on the buildings below. And that we can deal with these other things later. But for now, we got to work on protecting the town from the flames.
Okay, I didn't do it on purpose, I swear. I'll help.
Okay. It's okay.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Fire now. Problems later.
Okay. And she'll try to regain her focus and help out as much as she can, putting out the fires.
Yeah.
Trying not to be too visible, because, kind of just staying up there, dealing with the nearby flames.
Yeah. Well, it is later that day. Actually, I should say later that evening, after the ordeal has ended. The bridges have been soaked, so no flames will spread. This main stretch collapsed into the river, which helps put it out, and water then splashed onto what little remains on the shores. So everything is taken care of. Pearl's come back home to the house of Lydia, who is obviously concerned for what's been going on.
Oh, I'm not sure if Pearl would go back to Lydia's after this.
Oh, where would she
Depending
go?
on how angry people would be. Like, what happened immediately after they put out the fire?
Well, the town is quite physically divided at this point. You're on the one side with Timmy's mother, most of the other people are on the other side, and once the main section of the bridge collapses and all the chunks are thrown down below and it's sort of out of your hands, many other people are still working on the last bits of the flame, but your job is clearly done. There's nothing left to do here. Now you'd just be throwing water on a wet building.
Are the kids still there, or?
No, they've shuffled off. They're somewhere else. They're near one of the ringleaders' homes down here, watching from the second floor.
Does it seem like the town knows that it was me, or?
It seems like the kids have been telling everyone it's you, at least on the other side. And it does appear like Timmy's mom has at least recited the things you told her. And maybe it's just your teenage awkward imagination, or maybe it's real, but you could swear the whole eyes of the entire town are on you. And you know how kids are. Like, sometimes you think you're the center of everyone's attention, everyone's staring at you. In reality, no one cares about you or even notices you. And other times you really are.
Yeah, like in actuality, they care about fixing the bridge, but I think Pearl at this point is like terrified that the entire town is like gonna lynch her for this. Like, this is a really, 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 really bad thing. I think Pearl would try to escape the whole town at this point and just run out into the forest out west, just to...
West, so you want to go down across the whole town out into the woods.
Scurry down and go along the river, and sort of try to hug the wall, and just kind of like run out of town.
Okay.
And she's gonna run basically to, where Lydia found her. I think she's gonna sit there for a while. And just kind of get out of town to not have to deal with people, not have to deal with having to explain herself, or, having to hear the bullies talk about her again, and she's just tired of all of this.
Some hours later, you will hear your name being called, and you will see some lanterns and torches in the distance, illuminating the path in the direction of where you are.
Do I see who they are?
Right now, it's just distant voices. You can make out Lydia's voice amongst them all because you recognize that one very clearly. The rest of them are just a sea of townspeople, too distant to individually recognize. But people are out looking for you in the dark.
Is it like, are all of them together? Like Lydia and everyone else is one group? Or is it like separate people walking in different places?
You've got pretty good vision. They've got lights. You've got some distance on them. They're coming up the canyon as like a group of 7 or 8, but you can see in all these like little forks off of the canyon where other little creeks and streams run into it. They'll get to a fork, and maybe the group of 7 will split into a 5 and a 2, and 2 people will go up one canyon, and the other 5 will keep coming up the main section. So that's slowly fracturing. If you were to try and hide or escape, you probably could break down the number of people coming your direction.
I think I would climb up a tree somewhere and hide in that tree and just kind of wait for them to walk past.
Yeah, the group will come towards you. You'll see Lydia at the front of it. Some other kind people, including Britt, the woman who lives next door, Barnaby, the mayor, the cleric, Crofter, is nowhere to be found. He's probably tending to folks back home. The whole group will come. 2 of them will split off. The other 3 will keep going, and you will be able to hide from them quite successfully.
I think I think I'll stay in the tree for a while, see where they go, if they turn around or if they keep going for a while.
They keep going. They go up the canyon, and it takes another 2 hours or so before they come back down. This time, quiet. The occasional pearl echoing out, but you get the clear impression that they think you've ran off deep into the woods and are no longer here.
I think if Lydia is... or wait, what time is it at this point?
Ooh, many hours after sundown.
Okay, so it's like really dark and late at night.
Really dark, late at night. Lydia's with other people still.
I think Pearl would wait until she believes that everybody has gone home to sleep for the night. And then once things are like calmed down out there, I think she's gonna slowly make her way back to town and while it's pitch black outside, and try to not be spotted and kind of sneak back home to Lydia's place.
Yeah, it's easy enough to sneak back in this late at night. You can clamber up cliffs or go up the staircases, whichever you need to do, and slowly make your way home unnoticed. When you get to the door, you will see one of the windows nearby is opened, and you can hear the gentle crying of Lydia inside. She's clearly very upset.
Yeah, well, can I peek into the window? I don't know if it's... I'll just peek into the window and be like, Mom?
Her head will snap up immediately, and she'll run to the window, throw her arms out and around you. Oh my God, I was so worried. You ran off. Where'd you go? Are you okay?
Are they gonna kill me?
No! Of course I'm not gonna hurt you. No, did you do that? Did you start that fire?
Maybe.
Oh my God, come inside quickly.
Okay.
She'll pull you in through the window.
Damn.
Shut the shutters behind. Oh, you're getting heavy.
Look, it was those kids again. I got them. I went to the class. I got the meat. Did everything you told me to do. I didn't veer off to do anything weird. But those kids again. They just stopped me and they pissed me off. Okay, and I didn't know. I didn't know what to do, and I'm sorry. I lost the meat as well. I was worried everybody would kill me. Oh my goodness.
Don't worry about them. Those are nasty little brats. You're people like this all over the world, and they're always frustrating and annoying. They are the ones to blame for what happened, not you. Just don't run away like that. I don't know what happened to you. I didn't know if you were eaten by a mountain lion or something, or a bear, or...
I'm sorry. I was just really scared of what would happen. And I know you don't want me to cause any trouble, and I hate to be the one to do this.
Well, they did come by. There was a group of concerned citizens, she says, using a euphemism for something more dark, that wanted to hold you responsible for this and put you in jail. I told them that there was very little point in that. This wasn't something that you intended to do if you were even responsible. And we'll talk to Crofter in the morning, see if he has anything to say about this all.
Okay. I'm just really scared. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to go off alone now.
Well, the magic is scary. You're right to be afraid of it. It's a dangerous thing. You just have to practice and control yourself and learn how to use it safely.
Okay.
And, make doubly sure that you don't do anything in town, especially fire spells, please.
I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to push him. Pulled my tail and threw away the meat that I was getting. And I just got very angry.
It's very unfair, but you're going to have to show a lot more restraint than any of those miscreants. You're in a bit of an unusual position. I don't have to tell you that. And with it comes a slew of extra responsibilities that you are going to have to take for yourself. It's not right, and it's not fair, but people are going to hold you to a very different standard.
I just wish I wasn't alone with this. Like, it's hard to do this. I don't know how to hold back. I don't know how to not get angry.
That's a normal thing. All teenagers feel that way. You just happen to be explosive about it. But the not knowing how to hold back... Look, don't look at me that way. Every child goes through this. I went through the same thing when I was your age, not with fire spells, but...
Okay. Sure, it's the same thing.
Don't blow me off.
I get it.
There was this time. She launches into a story about some time when she was a child and she couldn't, control her emotions and she did something wrong. And
I roll my eyes and start heading off to the kitchen to get something to eat.
She follows you in and continues to wordily tell you a story you've heard 10 times before about, the difficulties of being a youth. Which...
Mom, you don't have to tell me this again. You've told me this so many times over.
Well, I didn't know if you remembered or not.
Okay.
It's good to remind you of the same stories over and over again because they're important.
Okay, and then I will fill in the last half of the story to make sure that it's clear that I remember what the message is that she's trying to get across.
She taps her foot on the stone floor and glares at you as you sass her back.
And I'll pull out something to eat from the cabinet and walk past her.
Difficult, she says.
Hop up into the couch and just kind of snack and just hang out in the couch, I suppose.
So that's the first time Pearl caused serious damage in the town. Another thing we want to get to is the first time you were able to control your magic. But before we get there have been a couple of cantrip surges in your life. I think we rolled 4 of them at the beginning of the game. Here we go. We've rolled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total.
7.
Smells within 100 feet of the caster are significantly amplified for 1 minute. The scent of the caster becomes dominant. All within 50 feet of the caster become familiar with the caster's unique scent print. Animals with plants within 10 feet of the subject or center writhe around for a minute. All creatures within 15 feet of the caster must make a strength save or be pushed 5 feet from the caster as a shockwave emanates from them. Death clings to the caster's back, visible only to them, and drains spellcasting modifier HP and necrotic from the caster every round. Dust Devil and all creatures not at full HP suffer 1 necrotic damage. Okay. So, which one of these was the first one? Why don't you roll me a d7 and we'll figure out the first effect that you come across.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All creatures within 15 feet of the caster must make a strength save or be pushed 5 feet away from the caster as a shockwave emanates from them. So, your first time with a wild magic cantrip surge.
So I imagine. Oh, sorry. I was gonna.
No. Please tell me what you imagine.
So I imagine this could be like. There are lots of kids in town, right? Not all of them are bullies, and Like,
Correct.
there's got to be some kids that are like interested and fascinated by whatever it is I am and doing or whatever.
Absolutely.
So I imagine there has to be some moment where some group of kids convince me to try to use my magic when I really shouldn't, and kind of pressure me into doing it.
Yeah.
Even though I know I'm not supposed to, you know? So I imagine like there would be some moment where like, I don't know, I'm like, oh, you know, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but, and then kind of take them to some secluded spot, like a little bit away from all the townspeople, and kind of just do some magic tricks or whatever.
Yeah, it's after one of the Sunday school classes. Everyone, attends church in the morning, and some of the kids go off afterwards to hang out, and maybe there's like a little bit of a special lesson for the children. And after all of this is done, you are left with some of the kids who you're somewhat friends with. I wouldn't say super close with, but somewhat friends with.
Not bully relationship, okay?
Definitely not. They most of the time they'll give you a wave or a hello, but you usually keep it to yourself. They're kind. They're just like regular kids. There's whatever. But one of them comes up to you and is like, Pearl, we heard about you can do magic, right? Can you show us? Come on, show us just a little bit of magic.
I can't do that here.
Just a little bit. Come on.
No,
You can make water levitate, right? I've heard about it.
Yeah, well,
I've seen it. Sometimes you cry and the tears just float in the air. Come on,
wait, where did you hear that? Who told you about that?
I've seen it.
Well, not the crying part. Who told?
I did too.
I kind of look around. Is the cleric around or?
Nope. No one's around. Just you and this pack of 6 kids.
So are we like in town somewhere, in the middle of the town, or?
Yeah, you would be near the temple. There's like this big tree right here, with a little railing around it, and the railing like drops down to the floor at the tree, so that it's like maybe a 4-foot, 3-foot railing. And they're kind of hanging around there, and they motion to like hop on the inside of the railing, between the railing and the tree, so they would be like beyond the view of all the people, and everyone crouches down here. Outside of the view of all the adults who are milling around near the temple itself, having the after church association. Someone brings cookies, and the parents and adults of the town are just like socializing and having a chat. The kids like, come on, Pearl.
No.
No one can see. They can't see you. Just do a little bit of magic.
No. Look, accidents can happen so easily, and Lydia's gonna be so angry with me if she knows about this.
Well, I guess you're right. I guess she can't do it.
Hey, I can do magic. Don't.
One of the kids turns to the other and says, Jimmy, you're right. You said she wasn't able to make any magical effects happen.
Well,
I guess it must just have been a mistake.
Hey, do you have any water? Fine, I'll look around nervously and like see if anyone's nearby.
Yeah, one of the kids pulls out a water skin that they had been drinking from earlier.
Look, I really shouldn't do this. It's really dangerous.
It's just water.
Yeah, well, are you sure?
They just look at you expectantly.
I'll just do a small thing, okay?
Just a small thing. Just a small thing.
Okay, pour it out into your hands. Make a little puddle.
Jimmy pours the water into his hands, cups them both together, while one of the nearby girls pours water in, and they all watch and wait.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to change color of it or turn it into ice?
Ice.
Ice. Okay. You're okay. I'll look around and like doubly make sure, because I'm really nervous that someone sees this.
You're ducked behind this thing. There's no way anyone's gonna see you.
Okay, look, just don't tell anyone I did this, okay? I'll do it for you, okay? But don't tell anyone.
Yeah, just for us. Shh.
Okay, and Pearl will concentrate, because it's kind of hard for her to do this like at will, because it's still been kind of unstable and difficult. But she will hold her hands above the other person's hands with the water, and close her eyes for a while and concentrate, and eventually turn it into ice.
Well, that's the intention, but very quickly instead, a large shockwave emanates from Pearl, pushing all of these children back and a whole bunch of the adults who are standing on the platform above after church, wearing their Sunday best, a cup of wine in one hand, cookies in the other, and they get like pushed backwards. The wine splashes and spills, making a mess of everything.
Do
And
I
a whole
get
bunch of
pushed back,
adults come
or am I
tumbling
just
down. No, you're fine.
the
You're
eye
in
of the
center.
storm, basically? Right? Okay.
Totally, yeah. The kids immediately yelp and screech. At first, it sounds like fear, and then it sounds like joy. They are tickled by this thing, and there's like broken ice all around them as well. But they're laughing and squealing and rolling around on the ground, and quickly one of the parents leans over and looks down in here, and someone tries to grab you by the scruff of his neck, but by now you're like, you weigh way too much to be picked up that way, but they just hold you that way. While Lydia comes over, smacks their hand off of you and says, "Unhand my daughter at this instant!" And everyone begins to crowd around you in this like little pit over here. The other kids' squealing and laughter quickly fades as the angry adults saunter over. And Lydia immediately begins defending you against these other people who start jabbing fingers in your direction and they say, "What was that? She did it again! What is she doing? Someone explain this behavior."
You told me to do it. This wasn't. Hey, you really wanted me to do it, okay? And you're the ones that pressured me into it. I wouldn't have done it otherwise. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know this is dumb.
Lydia waves a finger at the crowd and says, "Do any of you have anything to say? Any of you?" And someone steps forward and says, "That was quite the surprise. Is everyone okay?" And everyone sort of nods. Yeah, we're fine. A couple of people complain that their clothes have now been stained with wine. And Lydia passes it off. "It's just clothing. It's fine. It'll wash out. Give it to me. I'll see that it gets cleaned properly."
And I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, it'll wash out." And I'll also point to the clothes.
And Lydia will turn back to you and say, "Pearl, we will talk later. What have I told you about using magic in town?"
Look, they really wanted me to do it, okay?
"We will talk
Okay.
later." But then she turns back immediately to the assembled adults and once again defends you. "Now, we've all done things when we were young that we didn't mean to do. I know I have done my fair share made my fair share of accidents that were harmless in nature. No one got hurt, just some clothing got stained. So if any of you have a problem with this, you know where to find me."
Yeah, and
she
Timmy,
comes back.
remember the thing with the vase that you did? Like, we all make accidents, or these things happen, you know?
Timmy just claps and applauds you. He seems tickled by everything that has happened. Not even pissed, just like, "This was fun. That was great. I want to see it again." And Lydia will scoop you up and toss you onto the catwalk, and you guys can head home. Is there anything else that you would like to say or do? Do you want to escape from her, go back and defend yourself? You can still see some people are, waving their fingers in your direction. The cleric Crofter is there trying to settle everyone down. He's got like his rod of comfort out to try and make the atmosphere a little bit more pleasant. And, "God, it's fine. These things happen. It's not like she burned
Totally.
down a bridge or anything this time. It's quite a mild problem."
I think Pearl still feels shame about the bridge thing, so I think that kind of like sours the mood for her. But otherwise, she waves her hopefully friends off, because she just waves them off and like,
Bye,
see you
Pearl.
tomorrow.
See you next week.
Or next week, yeah.
Okay. Roll me another
Otherwise, I'll
D7.
just head home.
All creatures not at full HP within 20 feet of the subject or center suffers 1 necrotic damage. All undead gain 1 HP. This damage bypasses resistance but not immunity. So at some point, I think this one is quite different. This one I think is while you're out hunting. You and Lydia are tracking some game, and there's another group of hunters with you. I think it's you, Lydia, and 4 other hunters with spears, and you guys have cornered a rather large boar. It's already been wounded a little bit in the battle. One of the hunters has taken a gash to his leg, but the boar has been like finally cornered, and the hunters are saying, "Careful now, cornered animals. It's the most dangerous type. Careful, careful. Someone's got to go in for the kill." And Lydia looks around and then looks at you, Pearl, and gives you like an eyebrow raise and says, "I think it's time to try some magic.
Really? Can I just
Hit it with some fire."
Okay. Give me a minute. Hold on. As you kind of like take deep breaths and like try to focus, close her eyes, and like this is a spell that she almost never gets to cast because it's very destructive. So she hasn't practiced it that much. But yeah, she focuses and then eventually creates a firebolt.
Yes, the firebolt streaks out towards the creature. Make me an attack roll with it. Let's see. Charisma is your casting thing, right? Okay. It's not a great shot. You're still learning your firebolts, you know.
Oh, jeez.
Still making it happen. You miss the boar, but in addition to this mote of fire that streaks from your hand in the direction of the creature, there's also sort of like a rippling wave of darkness that comes off of you. And that guy that's been injured by the boar drops to a knee with a shout and a cry. And you can see that his leg has sort of ripped open further. Very obviously, it's gone from like a small gash to a much, much larger gash. And the boar itself cries out with
Oh, jeez.
Everyone stops and stares at you, and while everyone like turns to see what the fuck this thing just was, the boar bolts and managed to find a spot between some people and flee. And
I'm gonna
escape.
try to cast another firebolt as it flees.
Give me another firebolt.
I'm not sure if I actually succeed. I think there's like a 50-50 chance it's gonna take me too long to, or like even able to focus on it. So I'm gonna do a D2 first. If it's a 2, I succeed in being able to cast it. Okay, never mind.
Excellent. Nope, not today.
Nope. I tried.
You cannot muster the energies to produce another firebolt. And on top of that, you got the whole crowd looking at you. The one person who was wounded by the necrotic burst is plopped down on the ground looking at their leg, which is now like a much larger wound. And their eyes come to look at you, Pearl. Their eyes are big. And he says, What was that? What was that?
I don't know. I don't know. And I'll like, I presume I would have a backpack at this point, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll take it off and probably have some sort of basic supplies for like medical needs or whatever. And I'll take out some bandages and see if I can help out. And do you want my help? I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I can take care of it. But what the hell was that?
I don't know. I was trying to cast fire on it. I don't know what happened to this. I'm really sorry.
Comes around and takes a look at the guy's leg. There's some discussion about what it might mean, and then everyone agrees that it's probably just best to go see the cleric about this sort of thing. And off you guys will go. By now, the whole incident at the record room has transpired. The former cleric is gone. Annabelle has come into the fold. She is a young cleric. She's brand new at this, but she is the new one around. And she will take a look at the wound. She'll take a look at she'll hear the story about how it was caused by a boar's injury and then was expanded upon after this wave came off of you. She'll cast a detect magic spell and inform you that this was some sort of necrotic energy that caused this wound. There's still residual necromancy magic on it. And she'll look to you and say, do you know what necromancy is?
No, I do not.
It's the magical forces that deal with life and death.
Oh.
Healing magic is a form of necromancy, but it has a darker, destructive side, sort of like a rotting effect, which is what seems to be happening here.
So like fire would also be a destructive necrotic effect?
No, fire is an evocation effect. That's
Oh.
pulling raw energy out of nowhere and shaping it into something wild and usually destructive, like fire. Um, necrotic energy is you're draining the life force of the area. Usually it's tied to the spiritual plane of existence. How did you tap into the spiritual plane?
I was just trying to make a fireball and throw it at the boar we were hunting. I don't know. I don't know what do you think that what do you think that I did this? Maybe it was the boar. Maybe that one did it, you know? Okay, maybe not. I don't know. I don't have answers. I wish I knew, but
It's okay. Hold on. I'm not accusing you of anything. If you're going to be using magic, you need to understand it. So this isn't a moment to be defensive. This is a moment to be inquisitive.
Oh, okay.
How did you reach the spiritual plane?
So, I think when I try to do my magic, I don't know anything about any planes or necrotic things or what that even is. It just feels like I kind of will it into existence. If I just focus really hard on what I'm trying to do in the moment, it just kind of happens. Although in this case, I didn't try to create any necrotic things, especially not against our hunting friends. I was just trying to make the fire happen.
So it was an accident.
Yeah.
Did you feel anything when you did it? Did you feel any... Did you feel cold?
Actually did, Pearl? I don't know if that's part of the effect or...
That you can decide at this point.
Oh,
I'll prompt you with some questions, and you can decide how you felt about it, and we'll see where this path takes us.
if I feel cold, I'm not sure. It was kind of hard to tell in the moment.
Did you hear any voices?
Maybe.
What did they say? Could you make out any sounds?
Not at all. Completely detached and difficult to make out any words. But, I mean, I thought it could have just been leaves in the wind, I guess. I do kind of get lost in my thoughts when I try to focus on these things, and sometimes I hear things, sometimes I see things, but it's all very vague, and it's really hard to make out any details. I kind of just try to imagine what I want to do, and sometimes it just comes to me in ways that feel pretty real, but I don't know if it's just my thoughts.
No, it's probably something more in you, Pearl. You're an unusual person. Your magic is innate. It's unusual for most folks. It might help you to know a little bit about the world. I don't know how much your mother has been able to teach you. I know she's not magically inclined, but it has been something I've studied a little bit. I'm not the greatest source of knowledge on this, but I can tell you what I do know. The world we live in is known as the prime materia plane. We are the physical manifestation of all of the other realms of existence. You would know, of course, that there are the four elemental realms: earth, water, air, and fire.
That one I've heard about.
Yes, they all exist in the same place, and we are made up of where they meet. They're not physically in the same place. They're sort of overlapped on top of each other, and where the realms are thinnest is where our world is. And we are made up of these four planes. But there's more to it than that.
Is it kind of like having where you can sense two smells in one spot?
Yes, it's just like that.
Okay.
The spiritual plane is made up of sort of life energy, or our souls is another way to think of it. It's tied to Falumbra. The moon,
What is Falumbra?
Bloomber's the moon. She is the goddess that holds the souls of all the creatures. When we die, our souls eventually travel their way there and are recycled into new life forms that spring out later. That means each one of us, you and me and your mother and everyone here, is made up of all of the recycled souls of people from generations past, those that have died and successfully moved on and eventually found their way back here. Now, the spiritual plane seems nice when we phrase it that way, but there's a lot of potential energy there. You can think of it as sort of a cold spot in the room, or a low pressure system. If you can bridge the material plane with the spiritual plane will drain souls and life from the material plane into it. It's sort of like a vacuum in that way. It's sort of like a really cold place, and the world we live in is a warm place. And if you open the door, all the heat will rush away into the cold. So we need to keep that door closed as much as possible.
Are you saying I opened that door?
Just a little bit. You just opened a small crack.
That sounds kind of scary. Does this mean I can...
Scary.
I don't want to go to the spiritual plane already. I'm not ready to die.
You're not dying. You just opened the door a crack.
Have you done this before?
When I cast healing spells, it is using the same sort of spiritual energy, but it is controlled in such a way. See, between the material plane and the spiritual plane is the ethereal plane. It's sort of the matter, like an in-between place.
A doorway.
That's good enough for now. And when I heal things, I can pull some energy out of the spiritual plane into the ethereal, then close the door to the spiritual plane, open it here, and then bring the energy in and shape it in the way that I want to help restore life. If you open both doors at the same time, though, it just gets sucked in the other direction, and that seems to be what you've done. So, next time you feel like you're opening a doorway to a cold place, or to a place where there are voices, or to a place where there are ghosts, try to only open one door at a time.
I'll keep that in mind, but I don't know how much I can control that. Does it help if I try to visualize the doors whenever I cast my magic, or?
You should try that. We all do it differently. My magic comes from a divine source, from Martha, the goddess of life and healing and creation, and she helps me shape these things, so I don't have to think about it in the same way. You do this innately, as if it was a part of who you are. So for you, it's going to be a very different process, and I can't quite help you with that. You'll have to figure it out on your own, but remember, keep that door closed.
Okay, I'll try to remember. If I get cold, hear voices, I will... It's better to stop what I'm trying to do than to keep going. Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'll try to keep that in mind. I'm so sorry about all this confusion.
She will attempt to heal the wound of the guy who was injured by the boar, and it will heal mostly, but it'll still have like a little bit of a tear. Annabelle will frown at it, shake her head, and say, I think that was done by the necrotic damage. You'll have to let it rest naturally. Try not to go anywhere for a week or so, and leave the guy to his own devices.
I'll tell him that. I'll try to hunt twice as much, and I'll try to cover for you.
Just take it easy. Don't hurt yourself.
No, I'll be fine. It's fine.
Okay.
We got this.
Let's get me another D7, please. Lovely. The scent of the caster becomes dominant. All within 50 feet of the caster become familiar with the caster's unique scent print. Now this isn't damaging, but this just might be a little bit embarrassing. You never want to be like all of a sudden smelled by everyone within 50 feet of you. Regardless of the cause of the smell, that's just, a uniquely embarrassing situation. So, far less destructive than these other ones. what situation does Pearl use a little bit of magic and everyone all of a sudden becomes like very familiar with your smell and looks over in your direction?
I think I'm trying to think of like what makes a cat smell. It's either when they go to the litter box or when they're wet, because wet cat is like similar to the wet dog smell. So I imagine there must be some accident where I trip and fall into the river, and at some point, and then I try to like wrangle water out of me with my magic, and that then backfires, and now the whole town smells of wet cat, basically.
Oh yeah, I can see that happening. Easy. Yeah.
Or someone pushes me into the water, because that's got to be tempting if I keep telling people I don't want to be in the water.
That's true. There are some bullies in town, like every town. So let's just... Why don't you roll me a d20? If you roll high, you trip in the water. If you roll low, someone shoves you in. That's high in this situation. So you're walking along the water's edge, and, a fish pops up. You get momentarily distracted. Your footing slips on some of the moss, and in the water you tumble right in the middle of town.
I just absolutely hate water, because I know that mostly because of the like long and tedious cleaning process afterwards, and I feel absolutely gross. So it's more of a like grossed out feeling, and just like, yeah. So I'll just panic splash around and try to pull myself up from the out of the water. At this point, I'm also feeling very embarrassed. So I'm gonna look around and see if anyone saw me fall into the water.
They did, yes. You're right in the middle of the town, right next to that lower bar where some people like to hang out in the evenings. It's still a few feet above you, but the people who are right at the edge would be able to look over and see down into it. You can see
Here
some, like,
or
covered faces. Yeah, right there.
okay.
You can see some discreetly covered faces chuckling at the poor girl who fell into the river. Safely, no one's laughing because you're injured. They're laughing just because you got wet.
I'm gonna crawl out of the water as much as I can, and kind of do the head spin thing and try to shake off as much water as I can. And I think I'll also this is just so gross to me, and so I'm gonna try to hide a little bit near the cliffs or like under something. And then just see if I can just use my magic to push the water out from...
It doesn't work. And you hear from above you, if you're hiding underneath the cliff or underneath that raised bar area, all of a sudden you hear the people above you saying, "What is that smell? It smells like wet cat. What is that? Oh my God, it's so strong."
I'll just look up, and then I'm just gonna get really embarrassed, and I'm not sure
the
what
bartender's looking off the edge, looking around, and he'll make eye contact with you. Or I'm sorry, she will make eye contact with you and meet your gaze.
I just fell into the water. Don't judge me, okay? It's slippery here.
It's really strong. Is that you, Pearl? That's very unique smell.
Look, I'm sorry, but sometimes mistakes happen. I didn't think this would make any smells, but fine. I'll just go home, I suppose.
Just stand downwind, please.
Yeah, sure. I'll walk away.
There will be light chuckling and laughter from the adults who are all equating this to some adolescent fart joke, and are tickled by the experience, but also, whoa, wow.
I'll shout to the bartender. Hey, so do you have a blanket or something? Might help with the smell. I'm cold. And
the bartender tosses you a dish rag that they would use to clean some mugs. It's not quite adequate, but it's the best that they've got.
Okay, I'll try to use that to get some water out. Okay, I'm really sorry. After a minute of trying to use this tiny rag, kind of noticing that it's not very effective, and I'll be like, "Do you want this back?" And I'll hold it, and it's full of fur.
A shaking of a hand. No, it's fine.
Okay, I'll keep this then. Thanks. And I'll kind of slowly walk and make my way to try to make my way home without like passing too many people, but it's kind of impossible, I feel like.
It definitely is.
Yeah, this is like the worst case spot for walking home without passing anyone.
Yep.
Okay, well, don't have a choice. I guess I'll do that.
It's embarrassing. You know, a person's smell is a pretty unique and a pretty intimate thing. So to have everyone aware of it, I can imagine would be, you know, very crimson across the face.
And also,
I guess you
like,
wouldn't turn crimson though. You've got fur.
I guess there would be. What does an embarrassed cat look like? Tail between legs, I suppose?
I have no idea. Cats don't get embarrassed. Not at least my cat.
I feel like I've seen some of my cats get embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
I think looking away and doing something with the ears where they like go down a little bit and like just not having eye contact. And that's what I remember. I could be wrong, but something like that would be the equivalent of feeling embarrassed.
Lydia will see you come on into the house, see that you're still, you know, a little bit wet, and just shake her head at you.
As soon as I'm like in the room, like I'm gonna go dead center in the room and do the spinny thing again and like splash water all over the place.
You hear the long, heavy sigh of a mother who's trying to raise a daughter by herself, and it's only compounded by the fact that her daughter is a cat who casts magic spells, and Lydia has no time for a personal or romantic life because she's always cleaning off water and cat hair from everywhere in the house, and it's complicated. But she's never blamed you for anything.
I'm gonna ask for a blanket because I want to get dry. This is uncomfortable.
She will hand you a blanket. Does Pearl produce hairballs when she cleans herself?
Probably, right?
Well, I mean, if you use blankets to dry off, you might be able to avoid hairballs.
It depends on how much hair is in the blanket.
Right?
I imagine there's a lot of hair in everything in this apartment, so...
Yeah, but I imagine if you lick yourself when you're wet, you're going to get a lot more hair in your system than if you dry yourself off.
It would totally be both. I don't think I can avoid cleaning myself. I think that's just gonna happen. So I think the blanket is more just to get rid of the bulk of the water, so I don't have to be dripping wet.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, I think the rest of that evening I'm gonna spend cleaning myself.
Yeah, it's a nice long evening spent grooming. Well done. Now I would like to get into, we've been dealing with some of the troubles you've had, the bullies that have affected you, the time you burned this thing, the times you knocked people over and spilled some wine. I don't want this entire session to make it sound like you've just been a social outcast and hated by everyone in town, so I would like to touch one time at least on some friends that you've had or some like positive moments you've had with other people. But I think we should do that after a break, as long as you don't mind going over our normally scheduled time. We also started late. And
oh yeah, we did.
I don't know what your time of day is like.
Should be fine.
Another half hour at least.
Yeah, should be fine.
Great. Well, why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at some more positive moments from Pearl's childhood.
Great. Yep. Thank you so much for tuning, and we will be back in a bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Embers of the Wilds. So, we're going to come in to game a little while later. There's one more cantrip that goes off. I think we've got smells, plants, death, and a dust devil. So I think it's the dust devil that happens again in town sometime. You create a big windstorm, it blows around, this dust devil starts to like tear people's clothes off the line, send them flying out throughout town. It's kind of a little bit of a chaotic mess. And after this happens, Annabelle the cleric will pull you aside once all the dust has settled, metaphorically and literally. She'll pull you aside and say, Pearl, I've been thinking about the problems you've been facing, and I think I might have a solution to
Oh,
help
you
you
do?
with this. Maybe.
Oh,
It might not work.
okay. Yeah, please tell me. Yeah, I would love to know.
She reaches behind her and pulls out this crystal ball, about yay big in her hand. And she hands it over to you.
This is beautiful. What is this?
Rule number 1, never leave it unattended. If you leave it somewhere, cover it with a cloth.
Okay.
You wouldn't want sunlight striking this, going through the ball, and causing fire. It can be dangerous, so always leave it covered, never leave it open.
Should we cover
Promise
it
me
right
that.
now? It's not covered right
No,
now. Is it
it's
dangerous
fine.
right now?
We've got
or-
it. We're seeing it right now.
Okay.
So if it causes a problem, we can see. It's bent, so when the light shines through it, it'll focus the light into a small point, and under the right circumstances, it can cause fire. Most of the time, it's totally fine. Just be careful.
Are you sure you want to give me something that can cause fire? I think a lot of
You
people would have
already
a problem
cause
with
fire,
this.
so
Okay.
you know, this
Okay.
is supposed to help you.
It's really pretty.
Now, it's not that it's pretty that why I'm giving it to you. It's because this is what is known as an arcane focus. This was gifted to you from Sherry. She's the woman that runs the bathhouse down the end of town.
Oh,
It's an old thing that's been in her family for a few generations. She was just using it as a paperweight, but when I explained the process and the need that you might have for this, she was all too happy to give it up to you. This is what wizards and some other magically inclined people use to focus their magics. I don't know how it works. I
Oh,
don't
you
use
don't-
anything like that myself. I'm a cleric. My magic comes from the gods. Yours comes from within, and it seems a little difficult to use. This here should help you bend the magic to your will a little bit more. It'll act at. Remember when I told you a few years ago about the doorways between the prime materia, the ethereal, and the spiritual plane?
don't
This
open
is
two
sort
doors.
of like
Yes, I remember.
right. This sort of like acts as another room, another doorway where you can open it, let magic in, close that door, and then let it out, and hopefully give it a little bit more containment and focus.
So I can control it better?
That's the theory. I don't know how it works, really. It's just a nice little idea that I had that how it might work.
How do I use it?
She shrugs.
Oh.
You focus your magic through it. But I don't know what that literally means, so you'll have to play with it to figure it out for yourself. But this is what other wizards in the past have used. Do be careful, though. It's very clear to people what this is. People who know about magic, that is. So if you carry this around with you and someone knows something about magic, they will recognize you as a spellcaster, an arcane spellcaster of sorts.
Okay.
So just be aware that your focus is a bit of a tell of who you are. On the other hand, it should make things a lot easier, and everyone in town already knows you're a magician, and there is no rest of the world anymore, so I guess it doesn't matter if people know.
That's so nice of you, and so nice of Sherry. Thank you so much.
Well, you'll have to thank her yourself sometime later. I know that the baths are not a place that you ever frequent, so you
No.
and Sherry probably don't know each other very well, but she was kind enough to give you this from her family's collection.
I should go thank her right away. That's really nice of her. So what do I...
Well, good luck.
Do I
Try not to burn anything down.
hold it and just try to...
She shrugs.
Okay.
You'll have to figure it out on your own.
Okay, I'll experiment and... Or, I don't know how to do that safely, but I will figure something out, I'm sure.
Maybe the bathhouse is a good place to practice.
I don't know if
filled with
Sherry would
water.
like that, but... maybe, yes.
All right. And off you go. Where do you go?
Well, first I'm gonna cover it with cloth, because I'm a responsible citizen.
Excellent.
And I'm gonna bring it over to the bathhouse and see if there's if Sherry's there, and if I can thank her in person.
Yes, she is there. Absolutely.
I don't know if you knock on the door, if there's a main entrance or a reception
Yeah,
desk or...
there's a door that's opened, and then there's a reception desk, and then there's a couple more chambers back there that lead to various pools. One of them is like where the hottest water comes in, and then another one has like the water takes a longer path to get there, so it cools a little bit, and it's a little bit more room temperature. And then the last one is just like a warm one, and then it spills out of there into this pool back here.
I'm
So
gonna...
the bathhouse water actually like makes a little waterfall coming down.
Neat. I'm gonna hold the cloth-covered crystal ball kind of awkwardly in front of me and awkwardly walk in because I've never been here and I'm not sure what the customs is and how you behave in a bathhouse. So I'm just gonna slowly walk in and see what happens if I can see Sherry.
She is right there at the very front of it.
Oh, you're Sherry, right?
I am, and you're Pearl. You must have spoken with Annabelle. Did she give you the ball?
Yes.
The arcane focus.
She did, and I'll uncover it and show it to her.
I hope it serves you well. It's an heirloom that's been in my family for generations.
How could you just give it away if it's been in your family for generations?
She shrugs and says it's not something that I use. It just sits as a paperweight, and I figured it's not doing me any good. Maybe it could do you some good.
That's really nice of you. I don't think anyone has ever given me a gift apart from Lydia. So it's just thank you so much. This means a lot to me. And I'll kind of clutch it toward my chest.
Well, happy birthday then, she says, as humidity drips from the ceilings, falling onto the ground around you, splashing into the warm pools, but also like splashing onto you. This room is like humid, and I know you hate water, and like there's little bits of drips of water that are falling on you from time to time.
I kind of like reflexively shake it off a little and like struggling to remain my composure. Thank you so much.
A damp hand and pats you on the head a few times.
Yeah, thank you so much. I need to show this to Lydia. I look up into the ceiling and all the water around me. I should probably leave. I'm a little uncomfortable here, and not because of you. It's just a little wet.
I get it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And then I kind of just turn around and scurry out.
She gives you a wave as you take foot and flee. And you can make your way back. Flee.
The water.
Evacuate. Yeah, no. You can make your way back home and meet up with Lydia, who is, I think this is maybe a day off. She's at home, feet propped up, just inside, the feet on a window, so like a cool breeze blows past her. She has an old text in hand that she is reading slowly.
Kind of like quickly run through the door and be like, Mom, I got a gift from Sherry and Annabelle.
She hops to her feet, sets down the old tome, and comes over to take a look. What is this, my dear?
I'll uncover it and I'll hold up the crystal sphere. We're like, this, like I got an...
Oh, wow.
They called it something special. Arcane focus? I think they called it. Annabelle says that this might help me control my magic somehow. She gave me no instructions whatsoever, so I have no idea how to use it, but supposedly this helps when you cast spells.
She looks at you for a moment and then says, well, why don't we find out? Goes over, grabs a bag, throws in some food, some bags of water, tosses it over his shoulder, grabs a blanket and a big floppy hat, and heads out the door to wander off up the canyon with you.
I'll put on my backpack and sort of get ready to head out too.
Off you guys go. And as you walk, she chats with you a little bit. So, how are you going to use this thing?
I don't know. You can look through it, and I hold it up against my eye. Maybe I should look through it while...
It makes everything seem so small when you look through it.
Yeah, it's also upside down. It's kind of weird.
That is weird.
Should I... Or do I hold it while I do my magic?
Once you guys are well into the canyon and away from the town and found a spot where there's not a lot of vegetation around to be burned, you probably come to like the same spot to practice over and over again. She will lay out the blanket in a shadowy part of the canyon, have a seat, put the big floppy hat on, lean back against some rocks a good 10 feet away from you, and say, well, do something.
Okay, what do I do? I'll hold it up against my eye. And is there water nearby, or?
She brought some water skins with you guys to drink and for you to play with. So she will fish around in the bag and toss you one of the water skins.
Okay, I'll open up the water skin and pour a little bit of it into like a cup so that I can place it in front of me. And then I'm gonna back up a little bit further, and then hold it up against my eye, like literally against my eyeball, and only look through it with one eye, and then try to like change the color of the water while I do that. And just like try to, what?
Like one of these.
Exactly, exactly like that. Exclusively looking through that. And then I'll try to change the color of the water, and I guess this time I'm gonna try to pay extra attention to like, did it make it easier? Do I hear any voices? Did like anything weird happen? Or is anything different from what it usually is?
Roll me a 1d20. Don't roll a 1.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Ooh, close but no cigar. Yes, the spell goes off perfectly and flawlessly. And staring right through it in the middle of it, you are able to shift the color of the water.
Did it feel different than if I weren't using it? In a way that I would be able to tell?
Yes. It felt like the difference between reading a book without your glasses and reading a book with your glasses. Like, it was just a little bit easier to bring all the things to mind and to focus it into something that you could understand.
Right.
It's the same physical process, but it just felt like things were just clearer, easier to grasp and hold in your brain.
Okay. Mom, I think this is it. I think you're supposed to look through it, and then I just do my spells, and it felt much easier.
As you move away the glass, you can see that the water remains completely unchanged in color. But when you put the glass back in front of you, it's changed.
Oh. Well, okay, maybe not. Wait, did I change color of something? Did I like miss and hit something else, or?
No, it's not quite working quite how it's supposed to. And your mom says,
Okay.
try again, dear.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna put it next to the water, like just right next to the water, and then like take a few steps back and then try to change color of the water again.
Nothing happens.
I pick it up and I walk over to Lydia. What if you hold it?
She holds it.
And then I try again and change color of the water.
Where did I put my d20? No. The water levitates instead.
See, I was trying to change color of it, but it's levitating.
You'll get it, sweetie. Just keep trying.
Okay, can I get that back?
She hands it back to you, pulls out a small fan and gently waves it over her face in the oppressive heat of summer.
I will try the eye thing again, but this time I'm going to turn my head upside down so that the world is in the correct direction. And then I'm going to try to change color of the water again.
Excellent. And I think with that roll, it will work. The water will shift in color, and you can hear Lydia from the sideline say, "Did it work?" Because she can't like see into the cup.
Oh, yeah, it worked.
Good job, sweetie.
And then I kind of bend back and pull it away. And
That doesn't seem super effective, though, if you have to be upside down.
yeah, I guess. Okay. And then I'm going to try to hold it in my hand, just directly forward. And then I'm going to try to change color of it once more.
Yeah. So you can do it again. This time it will work perfectly. 19 on the die. It goes off no problem. And over the course of the day, you will very, very quickly pick up how to work with this focus. It seems like it's the exact tool you needed. And once you get the right sort of like distance, how I use this, how I think about it, you realize it's less about where it physically is relation to you and the magic and the object, and more that there's some amount of like contact with it, whether it's in your hand or whether it's like in a bag that you're holding with your hand or other combinations. As long as you have some level of physical contact with this thing, you're able to temporarily collect and store energy within it in order to shape it, rather than having to shape it raw as it flows through you. It gives you like a little bit of a buffer zone.
Neat.
It makes an internal combustion engine instead of just a fire.
Great. Makes sense.
And Lydia will, applaud you from the sidelines as it seems to be working. And whenever it is that you get exhausted and too tired to continue, she will walk with you back home and say, "So, it seems like that this little thing has really changed the way you can use your magic."
I think so, yeah. It feels much easier and clearer to me what I'm doing. It feels really good.
Do you think it's safe enough for you to use magic in town now?
I would hope so. I mean, I didn't make any mistakes or anything. Nothing weird happened, right?
Nothing weird happened. It seemed fine.
And I did.
Maybe you can.
How many times did I use my magic?
All afternoon. Well, I can't even imagine how many times. I certainly wasn't keeping track, but all afternoon with no problems? That's got to be a record.
Yeah, that seems really good. Please, can I use it in town from now on then?
She shrugs. I don't see why not.
Neat. And then I'm gonna shape some water out of the river on the way back and make little ice shapes swirl around. Because now I can play with it.
Little crystals of ice can flutter and float around you as you walk. And as you come into town, there will be calls from the boardwalks. "Hey, come look at what Pearl's doing!" And some people will observe. Some folks immediately start freaking out. "Oh my God, she's gonna kill someone! Run!" Other people are more curious because it seems a lot more stable than normal. You're not like doing something, you're just maintaining something. And it's a bit of a spectacle. As you enter into town, you will see Annabelle, the new cleric, hanging out over there as well. She stopped off at the Peters house in order to, pay just a normal house call visit, and peers over the edge to see you with the ice crystals around you and gives you a friendly wave.
I will excitedly wave back and accidentally drop most of the crystals in the process of waving.
Shatter on the ground. Annabelle gives a bit of a chuckle and turns back to the Peters family.
But yeah.
You can make your way into town. Everything seems fine. It seems great. Later that day, I guess it's already late, so that evening, as the sun is going down, after everyone's had their supper, but before the last rays of sunlight leave the canyon, a group of semi-friendly children will come on over and ask you, what were those ice thingies around you? Can you show us? Can you show us? Show us?
Yeah, sure. I could totally do it. Where do you want to go?
Right here, right now.
Oh, are we next to the river, or?
No, you're at your front door.
Oh, do you have some water?
They run down to the river with you. One of them grabs your hand, probably for the first time, and the kids will pull you down towards the river.
I'm kind of surprised about this excitement all of a sudden. But yeah, I'll just follow them down to the river. And yeah, I'll kind of tell them to step back a little bit just in case something happens. Like it should be fine, okay? But just in case, because you know sometimes weird things happen. And I will hold the crystal ball in front of me, and I will lift some water, and then also while I'm lifting it, I also want to change it to ice so that I make the ice crystals again.
Roll me that d20 one more time. Maybe today? Maybe so close. So close.
I mean, I would probably do it multiple times. Like, do the ice crystals, do the color, maybe swirl it around a bit.
Right.
So that would be at least like 3 rolls.
Go for it.
But yeah.
It all seems to go well. No cantrip surge happens. No death clinging to your back and draining your life.
That would
no
never happen.
Strange smells or anything like that. The school kids are gleeful to see these effects around them. They pick up the ice and try and run away with it, and I think at a certain distance it probably reforms into water, or it's hot enough in summer that they can't really take it home and put it in a drink before it melts again. But everyone seems pretty spectacularly enjoying this moment.
Nice. I'm also enjoying it. Like, I sort of get to finally, I don't know, show off and make friends, like, by showing off at the very least. Although I guess I still don't know if they're actually friends with me or if they just want to see cool things. But yeah, I guess Pearl is feeling happy that she can, like, finally, like, use her magic for something good instead of just being something that plagues her all the time. So...
Yeah. Well, it seems to be working well. So we've done moments that have gone bad, where Pearl has caused massive destruction and damage to the town. We've dealt with the various harassment of children and adults who don't trust the magic or this weird cat person. We've seen what life was like for Lydia when she adopts a cat that slowly turns into like a talking, magic casting humanoid thing. We've seen some of the kindness of the people in town, most specifically Annabelle and a little bit of Sherry, and how some kids are quite accepting of you and others are not quite so much. Were there any other moments that you wanted to dig into in Pearl's past today that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
I think those were the main ones. I guess we didn't cover how the arcane focus turned into a staff, but maybe that's not relevant. Or
yeah, well, carrying around a large crystal ball is kind of a pain in the ass. It's awkward to carry in your hand. It's easy to slip out. And once you really get good at it, you find that it is workable as long as it's touching you, even if that means touching you through something. You've been able to maybe use it through your bag in a few instances, but it feels like the bag is a little bit more awkward. Like it doesn't work as well that way. When you have tied it to the bag, or like it was strapped to the bag, that seemed to work a little bit better. And then you realize that sometimes you take your bag off or whatnot. And I think you get the idea that attaching it to something you hold in your hands is a little bit easier. It seems to be, you know, you need contact with it, but also held in front of you is a lot easier than like gently resting on your hands. Connection with, on your shoulders, I mean, connection with your hands seems to be more important than connection with your shoulders or your body or your knee. Like if you have it resting on your leg, it can kind of work, but it doesn't work as well as when it's resting on your palm.
And a sphere would also easily roll away. Like it's kind of an annoying thing to deal with. So if it's attached to something, that makes it a little bit easier.
Makes it much easier. Yeah. Okay. So but I think do you make this staff yourself? Do you have someone make it for you? Is this a gift that you receive that someone does on your behalf without telling you? How does it get into the staff?
I don't know if Pearl sort of discovered the concept of a staff, or if like it's more likely that Pearl like heard about staffs somehow, and then like thought that might be a good idea to apply to her arcane focus. But I imagine that like she would want help from who would be like the carpenter? Maybe could deal with attaching that to like a wooden stick of some sort.
Yeah.
So I think Pearl would probably talk to the carpenter about that, and and like kind of search the forest for a good stick that would serve well as a staff.
Yeah. That is easy enough for you to find. And you can get the right size stick. You can bring it to the carpenter, who will carve it in just the right way that the ball can sit there nicely. Is there anything attaching it, or is it just carefully placed within a wooden framework, or is it like tied in or strapped in or buckled in somehow?
I think it's just kind of like there's part of the wood that could like easily split without the whole thing breaking, and the ball could sort of socket into that split.
Right.
Because sometimes trees have this kind of like circular growth around a thing. So I imagine it was like one of those circular parts where you could sort of easily hollow it out, and then it would kind of clamp the sphere into it.
So you can like pull it apart just enough to slide the ball in, and then as you relax it, the natural pressure of the wood holds the thing in place.
Exactly, yeah. Otherwise, I don't think there's anything in that. It's just a stick and a sphere. Nothing fancy.
Excellent. Well, Pearl has her arcane focus. She's got some control of her magic, although it's still a little unpredictable and a little wild. There are other accidents that we haven't had time to get into. There's, of course, the occasional, teenage emo moment where you just like knock a vase off a window still when no one's looking around.
Knocking things down, very tempting. Like if it's right on the edge, you just want to like push it a little bit,
it's right.
It's so close.
What could happen? I mean, it could just fall.
Yeah.
It could fall in an interesting way.
It's going to fall anyway at some point, so I might as well be the one to do it,
I mean, if it falls right now, you can see that it's not going to hurt anything. What if there's a small child passing under it when it falls later?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so there are those moments where things get knocked around. Pearl is accepted as a member of the town eventually, but also given a little bit of space, because even though her magic is mostly controllable, occasionally things still go wrong, and occasionally a firebolt sneaks its way out accidentally and sets something on fire. So when it comes time for Pearl to maybe leave Lydia's house, which, she says in a loving, motherly way that also is very brutal and honest, like, "Sweetie, I love you, but it would be nice to live in a house where I'm not constantly covered in hair and fur. Maybe it's time that you have your own apartment."
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. And then as you do your apartment shopping or whatnot, considerations are made and people sort of usher you out to the safest part of town, where if something does go wrong, it won't be a problem for anyone, much to the relief of your next door neighbors who have borne the brunt of your magical mishaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Neat.
And I think this is a good spot to bring us in for a landing.
Yeah. I think the last spicy cantrip thing that happened in the past, I think we're going to bring that up in a future episode. I think that's the plan.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
We are on the calendar for next week, are we?
I believe so, but I'm not sure if everyone has confirmed that. So I think we need to do that first, but probably on for next week, I would guess.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right,
Great.
Neat. Thank you so much for doing this.
No, this was fun. I love the like one-off backstory sessions with people. They always have a nice way of like fleshing out characters and making us feel a little bit more comfortable with them after the fact, once we have like a little bit of idea where they come from. So I hope that plays true with you as well.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of nice. It's kind of interesting and weird to like role play a different character. I guess you do it all the time, but for me, it's like I'm so used to just role-playing Pearl that it's like interesting to like try to hop into someone else's mindset. Although it's hard for me because I feel like I keep falling back to like Pearl's personality, even for Lydia. But anyway,
Well,
it's
we get part
interesting.
of our personality from our parents, don't we? So it makes sense that there's some similarities there.
Yeah, sure. I think it's more that Lydia and Pearl get parts of their personality from me as a person. Um, but uh, but yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, I was kind of not sure how to do a two-person D&D session, but I feel like it went well.
I think it went really well.
Apart
Yeah.
from, I was very nervous before we started.
I hope you're not nervous now.
No, it's kind of like, I don't know. I've had a lot of like public speaking stuff, and every single time I'm extremely nervous the moments before. But as soon as I get up on stage and I start talking, it's fine. It's the same thing with this as well. Like I'm really nervous before. That's the worst part. But as soon as you get started, it feels kind of just normal. Yeah, I just had the same thing happen here. I don't know, performance anxiety, I suppose. But yeah.
Right.
But thank you so much. This was neat. So, anything you want to shout out? What are you up to next?
Let's see. Tomorrow we've got the second session of the second chapter of the Legends of Arcadia campaign, where we're kind of like looking at what the early days of the world of Arcadia were like, the very first couple of years after it was crafted. And one of my players is now running the campaign, and I'm playing in it, so it's a whole lot of trust
How does it
placed into
feel?
my player's hand. So it's also really nice to now play in my own world and, you know, return all the crap my players have given me back to them. This player in particular, Greg Hansen, has always been super creative. He's the sort of person who says, "Oh, my spell says I can do this, but I'm declaring in this situation it does this," and he just explains it so well with so much detail in such like a understandable way that at first you're like, okay, so you're just drawing a circle in the snow, and then you're placing these rocks. Oh, and then you're casting this spell that you have. Oh, and now you're describing this weird effect that it has, but that kind of makes sense. Okay, I guess you can use this spell to do something you're not supposed to do. He's really good at just like getting whatever he wants by explaining it really, really well.
Does he have like really high intelligence or really high charisma? Or
Both. Greg is a smart man who knows how to get what he wants.
Right.
And,
That's the
it's
worst
nice
combination.
to be on the other side of the table. So now he can be like, well, Neil, you're doing blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, great, Greg, this is how it's going to go down. And I'm glad for the turning of the tables.
And you finally get the player privilege of like things kind of revolve around you and you're not supposed to die, whereas all of your NPCs are always at risk of dying, I feel like. So
Yeah.
maybe not as
It'll
much
be
in our
fun.
campaign, but I feel like in many campaigns it's a lot of murder.
A lot of murder. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it.
See you guys next week.
Oh, Koibu's channel. There we go. I sent 2 links in chat, so you can even choose which one to use.
Thank you.
It's a false choice. Oh, geez. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining. Yeah, and I will see you all next week.
Toodles.
Bye, everyone.